and a special good night to all our viewers. Welcome to Caribbean American News Network. Good to see many of you coming in large numbers. How was your day, folks? How are you doing? In my neck of the woods here, it is 7:07, and I suspect somewhere in St. Lucia, it is 8:07 p.m. And so we're happy to hear we are still adjusting to the time, and we promise you that we will have fun tonight. There will be a lot of information, and we want to welcome both the United Workers Party, SLP, Independence, all solutions from around the world. Welcome, welcome to the platform. We invite you to share as you join us. Please share the platform. Send it to your friends, your families, your cousins, and over to on our YouTube channel. We want to welcome those who are just logging in there. We're going to get right into our program tonight. Mr. Shasney is a very busy man, and I said this to you folks that the Caribbean would be happy to take him from St. Lucia. So let's do our best to keep him there in St. Lucia. There's a lot of work to be done. We're still behind on some of the developments there. You have a global crisis. You have climate change and other major issues going on there in your country, and therefore you need a visionary leader. You need people who are ready for the tasks, and persons who understand what leadership is all about, not persons who are self-centered and full of themselves and childish and petty. And so we need to be focused on the development of the country. And so I want to welcome you again. Please share. Invite a friend, let them know that we are on. Remember the number to call is 929-586-1821. But we got to get right into the show because, as I said, Mr. Shasney is very busy, and he's not on the island, and so we want to thank him for taking the opportunity to be here with us. So let me just welcome Mr. Shasney to the platform. I know many of you are going crazy. You're like, what is going on? My boss, man, my former prime minister, and many would say the next prime minister of St. Lucia. I saw you folks last week in the boulevard. Man, it was a sight to behold, and I suspect a lot of folks got some migraines because you would think, based on the propaganda, that the whole of St. Lucia hates Mr. Chastney, and he's not a nice guy and everything else. Well, you saw it differently, and for those of you who have been on this platform, you see every time his name is mentioned, some sector or some persons get migraines, and with not having medical insurance in your country, you want to be very cautious in getting migraines and high blood pressure and all those things. So take it easy, breathe, and invite a friend to the platform so that we can have a beautiful time tonight. 929-586-1821. Mr. Shasney, welcome to the platform.
Great to be here, Reverend. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. And I know that you're a very busy man, and welcome again, welcome. I'm excited, and I'm sure all of my listeners, my viewers, they're excited also. I'm going to give you the opportunity to greet your people, your followers, the people of St. Lucia.
Well, first of all, I want to say, my sympathies and my prayers are with the people in St. Lucia. I was there yesterday for this horrible storm that we had, and for the persons that were affected, their households, their cars, their personal effects. I'm, very, very, very sympathetic. I'm very also grateful that no one lost their life, because the reality is all the other things are replaceable, but life is not replaceable. And it was, again, another reminder that when you have a government and it's not progressive and it's not looking forward, and it continues to just use excuses as a form of governance, um, this is what we get. The reality is climate change is here to stay. Um, we have to expect it any time that a storm can happen. Doesn't even have to be a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane anymore to cause significant damage. And that's why building resilience and constantly desilting now on a year-round basis is a requirement. It's no longer an option in St. Lucia. I also want to say hello to my constituents, particularly those families who've recently lost loved ones. A very, very important person in my life, Susan Randolph, and her family lost their father to a battle with illness. So again, my sympathies to her and her family, and to thank them for their continued support. And I look forward to seeing them very, very soon. Again, we have some tough times ahead of us. Tomorrow is a very important day in the United States with the midterms, which is going to either indicate that the Democratic government is going to have an easier way forward, or they're going to have a very difficult way forward if, in fact, as predicted, that the Republicans will take control of both houses and during tomorrow's elections. And so we have to wait to see what's going to take place. But even without that, clearly there are some serious economic headwinds for all of us with the continuing increase in inflation, the strengthening of the US dollar, and now with interest rates rising, this is not going to augur well for many of the businesses on a global basis, and certainly for our tourism business in St. Lucia.
Well, thank you. Yes, and I also would want to, you know, recognize the fact that there are many families tonight who are displaced and once again will spend a very difficult end of year. We have seen it before. And Mr. Shasti, you spoke of the silting of the rivers. It would appear that the present government fell short in doing so. And I know your government, and especially Mr. Guy Joseph, worked a lot in his community, Labey over there, Mac Bexo, in ensuring that those drains are kept clear, especially during the hurricane season. Why do you think that the government did not see the need during a hurricane season to get those drains unclogged and clear, especially those major canals, rivers, especially in the north?
Well, I think that this is a government and particularly a political party that loves to govern in opposition. They're always, second guessing everybody. It's always easier to criticize, but once they're in government, the actual discipline of getting stuff done, that's where they say the tire meets the road.
Yeah.
The reality is that the financial situation was very difficult, and you have to learn how to prioritize what you want to do. And sadly, as I've indicated, with climate change today, we don't have the option. You never know when a storm like what has happened with a freak thunderstorm and can come upon us and the damage it can do. There was actually no warning from the Met Office that this was going to transpire. And the combination of not desilting properly before the hurricane season, we've had heavy rains over the last several months in St. Lucia, and therefore the drains and rivers have become even more silted than they were before. And you could see that during this hurricane season, there was little to no desilting that was being done. So this is something that could have been avoided. But when you don't have the discipline to run your country effectively, when you, I think, lose sight of the impact that this is going to have on households, individuals, and communities, and roads that were already in a very difficult and deplorable condition in our country have been made that much worse off because once the rivers overflow, and the water now starts going on the roads, and you saw many of the videos of that exactly
Yeah.
happening. The roads themselves become the riverbeds, and the damage that's being done is untold. And so, therefore, it's going to cost um, all of us individually, as well as costing this country a lot of money.
Yeah, because Mr. Shas, what I heard Mr. Henry, Joachim Henry, saying to the St. Lucian people today that it was not um, the Silton is not the solution, and the Silton would not have helped the situation yesterday. And I was a little confused by that. You know, I'm not sure what he
Well,
meant
look,
by that statement.
it's shameful that a person like him would want to make excuses. Like, for instance, I heard again the complaint about people putting their garbage and all kinds of stuff in the rivers. That's been going on for years. So what do? Do you ignore that fact and just allow it to accumulate and then cause the kind of damage that's going on right now? If you're genuine in stopping people from doing that, improve the sanitation services and allow persons to put those kinds of things on the side of the road and we can pick them up. But there are other ways to solve the problem.
Yeah.
But what he said is, I think, disrespectful, disingenuous, and irresponsible.
Yeah.
To be blunt,
Yeah.
the reality is that with the hurricane season and climate change, desilting has now become a priority
Yes.
and compulsory. We have to do it. This is not an optional thing anymore. And resources have to be put aside every single year to do it. You were pointing out that persons used to complain about Guy Joseph's overzealousness,
Oh
if you want to
yes.
call it that, in wanting to desilt. But I know in the 5 years that we were in government, while there was some flooding, never to the extent that we've had, and people saw successively every year that the amount of flooding was being reduced. And that was simply the discipline that he had and the dedication he had and the understanding that he had, the impact it was having on persons' households and people fearful. People had become fearful anytime that there was rain, thinking automatically that the floods were going to ensue.
Wow, wow, wow. So sad. And I'm a little concerned about this kind of knee jerk attitude with the government. Is like a pay as you go system where, the people put pressure, we patch a hole, the rain come, flood the road, then, we bring in some backhoe. And it is, I'm not sure the Labour Party really had a vision to move St. Lucia forward. I really don't see it at this point, and that's just the honest truth. But Mr. Shasney, let's look at the banana industry. We got some really bad news last week, from England. What is happening? The government again was caught by surprise. Did they not understand the banana industry at this time? Are they still looking back at the John Compton era of bananas?
Well, I'm very happy you brought up this subject because really the bananas is a very good example of the modus operandi or the philosophy of the Labour Party. If you recall that they were having difficulty in beating United Workers' Party, and then so in the 90s, the Labour Party understood that to get into government, they had to um, dismantle the agricultural sector, particularly the banana sector that St. Lucia had. Everybody saw that the banana farmers were the backbone of the United Workers' Party. And with their propaganda, were able to convince too many farmers that the systems that Sir John had set up of WinBan and WinEra and WinFresh, well, not WinFresh didn't exist in those days, but certainly WinEra and WinBan, and the control that they had over the farmers, and particularly their emphasis on quality control, they said that this was wrong and that Sir John was trying to uh, control the farmers' lives and the farmers themselves should be taking over the helm. The reality is that once the Labour Party succeeded and they won the election in 1997, and the Labour Party then gave the helm or the wheel to the farmers themselves. Sadly, all of the institutions that were required and to support the sector started to fade. So here's what the situation. The situation is that the Labour Party has not been able to subsidize the sector right now. They've complained about the increase in shipping freight. They've complained about other issues, and the reality is the government could have solved the problem by simply subsidizing the freight rate. Geest is still applying the motion. Whether we had shares in Geest or not, it makes no difference. Government has shares in Lucelec, and it doesn't prevent Lucelec from having a fuel surcharge. So it's ridiculous to suggest that because we didn't have shares anymore in Geest, that's what caused the prices to go up. It's the global economic crisis, the supply chain issues, and inflation that have caused the price of freight to go up, and the government could have subsidized it. Even though they did not mention it, I'm also going to say that the pound took a significant beating, and therefore we get paid in pounds for our bananas, and the pound depreciated from 125 all the way to 104 at one point. And so there would have been a loss there. And the other one, which is, again, something that's absolutely within our control, is the quality control. If you allow a banana to be shipped to the UK and then to be handled and then to put into a ripening room, and it's only at that point you realize that it's going to be a spoiled banana or rejected banana, then the cost of shipping that banana, the cost of handling that banana, the cost of ripening that banana will be deducted from the money that the farmer has collected. Now, when you get to a point where too many bananas are not meeting the standard, and therefore the cost of bringing them to the UK is deducted, it becomes to the point where we owe money or the farmers owe money rather than being paid money. And what has happened in the years past, especially with United Worker Party governments, we have subsidized those losses. In fact, what we were doing is looking to strengthen the FTO locally in St. Lucia to prevent those kind of losses from taking place. The government came into office last year, dismantled and went in a completely different direction. And just over a month ago or 6 weeks ago, the Minister of Agriculture was in Parliament boasting about their success so far. And then all of a sudden the announcement comes, which is something that we saw was going to happen from earlier. So the reality is, and it's a very sad reality, is I do not think that the banana industry is going to come back. And I think that what the Labour Party started in the early 90s, they've now put the final nail in the coffin of the banana sector in St. Lucia. And this is very sad because the banana sector was really a thriving sector, making significant contributions. My government, wanted to bring bananas back. We felt we could have brought back bananas back. And sadly now, this government has killed any opportunity, I think, moving forward in that sector.
Wow. And the sad thing is that many families are going to suffer because the Labour Party, they build up their hopes, and these folks are saying, look, we have the market now, we can go out at our farms and, we can focus on just planting bananas. And now you come after a few months and say to them, no, we can't take your bananas anymore to England. And I feel, and especially coming out of COVID, where, things was really rough. I heard the Prime Minister, by the way, of Dominica, repeated many of the same things that you were saying to the St. Lucian public during the fight with COVID. And now a Labour Party government in Dominica, by the way, a Labour Party leader who came to St. Lucia to support just recently the Labour Party in Micoud, I believe. He is now saying the very same thing that you were saying to the St. Lucian people, that it was a very tough time for leadership. It was challenging. And you, Mr. Shastner, there are times where tears came to my eyes. because you were pleading to the St. Lucian public while you had an opposition leader who were hell bent on just a pressure campaign during a very difficult time for many families. And I only wish that both the United Workers' Party and the SLP, the opposition and the United Workers' Party government would have come together to help during that period of time. But there was more divide. There was more divide, from Mr. Pear. How was that period for you? Because I followed you, Mr. Shastney, for a very long time, even before the COVID, and I saw you in action, and I would say to you that God bless you. You did well during that difficult time. I mean, you know nothing. You knew nothing about COVID. You knew nothing about it. So you guys had to learn. You had to. There's a lot of adjustments that had to be made in government preparation for a financial challenge that was, just at the horizon. What do you say, Mr. Chastney?
So it's very important when you're the leader of a small country like St. Lucia that you have to learn to anticipate. Um, and you have to always recognize that when there are headwinds in the world, that there's always an opportunity to take advantage of those headwinds. So while I never had witnessed COVID,
Yeah,
I had witnessed what I consider to be the fallouts of COVID.
yeah,
So I was at Air Jamaica when we had 9/11. So I understood that the airlines could stop flying. And I understood the cost it was going to have to the airlines and what the potential fallout was going to be. Um, I was the Minister of Tourism during the recession in 2008 and 2009. So I understood that when household incomes are being impacted, what that potentially will do to us. And then, most importantly, I was the Prime Minister leading the charge on climate change. And I knew how insensitive the World Economic Order was, particularly the small island developing states, meaning not showing any level of empathy and forcing us to have to continue to operate within very restrictive economic rules. And it's because of that that we put together a plan starting in the end of January of 2020 um, to anticipate the possibility that globally the world would shut down.
yeah,
And we moved very quickly. And it was because of that head start, I think that we were able to come out of COVID much better than people had expected. We adopted the slogan, coexist with COVID.
yeah,
That while we had to close our borders, we closed our borders because we did not have the capacity to deal with any major infection. We didn't have any respirators. We didn't have the ability to test anybody. And we certainly didn't have enough space to put people in isolation. And so, for that reason, we had to be overzealous and protecting the citizens of St. Lucia. And if you remember, we knew that it was going to affect people with diabetes and people with hypertension, of which St. Lucia has some of the highest rates of diabetes and the highest rates of hypertension. So we had to protect the citizenry. Now, I was very proud that when the social and economic review came out for 2021, um, it showed that the plan to reopen our borders, we were able to recover 50% of our tourism industry. And combined with the investment in construction, that the government's revenue had recovered to back to where it was in 2019. We saw an economic growth rate of 12.5%, which means we recovered half of what we lost in the GDP in just 1 year. And we had significant momentum behind us with the Hunora Ayrton Airport, the St. Jude's Hospital,
yeah,
the continuation of the water projects, the hotel projects were coming into St. Lucia, and certainly the housing projects that we had, that I think that we would have seen a significant economic growth, even past the 8% that we were projecting. But I was proud to see that our plan worked, and it worked remarkably.
yeah,
But the reality is, and the question you're asking me, is the Labour Party made it very difficult. When I went to appeal to the civil servants to forego part of their revenue, of their salaries for a period of time, politics came to play. When they had the march at the end of October, and after only having 28 cases and no deaths, all of a sudden we had over 1,000 cases, and we started obtaining or seeing the first series of people dying. Since we left government, before we left government, we only had 5,000 COVID cases and 88 deaths. In the last 18 months, this government has seen over 30,000 cases. And unfortunately, over 400 people have died COVID in that period. So, if you had to make a comparison, it's so stark, the differences. Because remember, when we were doing what we did, there was no vaccines, and
Right.
we were still learning a lot about COVID. The government had a benefit of coming into government with vaccines and a much greater understanding. They had a dedicated respiratory center with the old Victoria Hospital. We had hotels that we were using as quarantine areas, and they had a plan that was already working. So very, very, very sad to see what has transpired in St. Lucia, and the level of politics that the Labour Party has played and continues to play.
Right. And I remember one of the mantra was give give the people the money. They don't eat roads. Give them the money, borrow the money, and give it to them. And up to this day, we are not. I mean, the people of St. Lucia, those who are vulnerable, still have not received much assistance from the government. And
And yeah, and remember when we gave assistance, when we gave the $1,500 for the 3 months or the $500 a month, they said they would have tripled it.
tripled it. Yeah,
And when we did that, remember our revenue had been cut almost in half.
half.
We'd gone from $110 million to $55 million in a month. This government, their revenue had recovered back to $100 million plus by the end of 2021, and they've given nothing, absolutely nothing.
Wow, it is very sad. You know, let's look at St. Jude, our health system. I know you had some great plans, and I know COVID really threw you off in getting this hospital finished. I know it was, on the top of your list, in spite of the Labour Party saying you put horses before the hospital, and they refused to understand that the government did not spend any money in horses. You know, let me ask you again for the last time. I know you've been asked this 100 times. The DSH project in Viewfort, was that a government-based project financed by the government of St. Lucia?
No, I mean this was a project where a private sector person came in and created a vision for the old Beauséjour lands, and originally the project was supposed to go across where the swamp is, across the street from the stadium. And because of the garbage and the seeping into that area, they could no longer use that facility. So they were given lands just below or just outside of Viewfort on the beach area. The DSH people bought the majority of land that they were investing at 60,000 US dollars per acre. The only land that was leased to them was the 200 acres specifically for the horse racing track, because we knew that the horse racing track would not be a money generator. And so it was a sunk cost that they were putting in to be a catalyst for attracting investors to St. Lucia, and we bought into that vision. When the horses came, the construction of the horse racing track, all of that was funded directly by DSH, and at no point, I'm going to repeat this, at no point did they use any money from CIP for any of the projects they were doing. This was money coming in directly from them to pay for these projects. And I feel very sad for the people in the South
Yeah.
who were mamaguyed, who were fooled by the Labour Party in believing there was anything else. And here it was, a project that was going to, in my opinion, take View Fort and put it in the realm of a Kingston, Jamaica, or a Montego Bay, or a Bridgetown. And that's the ambition that the United Workers' Party had for View Fort, was to make it an international city, one of the top international cities in the Caribbean, with the cruise ship port, with the new hospital, the new HIA airport, the DSH project, and the Pearl of the Caribbean project. All of these things were private sector driven, and government was simply providing the policy space and making lands available to them at concessionary prices in order to see these projects get off the ground.
Wow, wow. Okay, so no CIP funds. I hope folks are listening.
No CIP funds.
Yes. So let's look at St. Jude Hospital. Someone sent me some pictures last week on the stadium, and that thing is falling apart. It's in bad condition. St. Jude, what is happening with the St. Jude project? I saw the government starting work on the fence and the exterior. I'm not sure what is happening over there at St. Jude. Do you have any idea?
So it's very, very sad because we have a brand new building that had been built, which is 220,000 square feet. So it's actually 20% larger than the OKEU hospital. It cost $115 million to construct the building that you see at St. Jude's. The building is almost finished. All the claddings are up, all the structures are up, the water, the electricity, and the sewage have been brought to the building. What needs to be finished is the interior works.
Yeah.
The building is a modern building, so that the ceilings are over 25 feet high. And what you do is you put all of the utilities in trays. You no longer put all of the utility wires into the walls. And when they're in the trays, wherever the drywall is, and that's how it comes down from the ceiling into the drywall. So all the studs have already been done downstairs. And the building was 4 months away from being completed on the ground floor. And that ground floor design, which was done by the health practitioners from Cayman Health City, would have allowed us to bring the entire operational service from the stadium into the ground floor. And this idea, well, you can't move into a building that was not going to be finished, to complete upstairs was again the same thing. It's just drywall and putting down the acrylic for the flooring, which would have zero impact on the operations downstairs. And this has actually, in fact, become a common practice to build hospitals larger than what you need. So as the need grows, it's very easy to expand into it. So the excuses that this government are using to justify going back to the old building are actually, in my humble opinion, irresponsible and corrupt. Their own reports, Shanty King's exit report, the letter that was written to Kenny Anthony saying to him in 2016 that it would take $100 million to finish St. Jude's, and that's back in 2016. And now the refusal of this government to be transparent. They have given a direct award to Reno Gajada. Nobody knows what the plan is. Nobody knows how much it's going to cost. Nobody knows, in fact, if they're even going to be able to get planning approval because they didn't have planning approval before. And to do this at this point is really irresponsible, and for me, goes way beyond the pale of bad politics. And again, it is the public and us, the citizens of St. Lucia, that are going to pay the significant price for what is transpiring. But again, this is again a government that said that they would not give out direct awards. Here it is on the port development, they've given out a direct award. Here it is on St. Jude's, they're giving out a direct award. And they don't seem to have learned from the mistakes they made last time. And when you read Shanty King's report, it really is a very sad story as to how the government managed such a critical project as St. Jude. And I see we're going back to repeat history again.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, let's hope that we can get the folks out of the stadium. It seems like the government of St. Lucia, the St. Lucia Labour Party, they're comfortable having a polyclinic up there, abandoning a structure that, I mean, based on what you're saying, would cost less to get those folks into the first floor.
Yeah, it was going to cost. It was estimated it was going to cost $40 million to have completed the ground floor. The prime minister wants to confuse the numbers by saying it was going to be over $180 million. That's not true. The building cost $110 million. We still owed Fresh Start and OECC $40 million for works that were already completed, and then it would have cost another $40 million to have completed the project. So the project would have been finished for about $150 million. Now, put that in perspective. The old St. Jude's, they had already spent $140 million on old St. Jude's. We were going to complete and operationalize a brand new modern building that actually.
There it is, folks. We have some technical issues there. We will be back. Please share the platform as you come in. Please share. We on live with Mr. Alan Chastney, opposition leader there in St. Lucia. Please bear with us. We're just having some technical issues here. All right, but he will be back shortly. Let's go to a clip, and we will be back.
The decision to suspend banana exports to the UK effective last week due to economic implications. The high cost of shipping and fuel, along with associated expenses, has rendered the business unviable. Currently, it is costing the government over $20,000 to ship just one container of bananas, or 1,000 boxes, to the UK. Prima, the ripening facility in England, has been subsidizing this cost by $12,000, causing the company to operate at a loss.
We now realize that it is not economically viable for Prima, for NFTU, for the farmers.
Besides this, stakeholders are grappling with quality issues, some of which are beyond their control. For example, it takes 28 days between harvesting and getting the fruit on supermarket shelves in Britain. By that time, the quality of the product is compromised. To make up for the loss of business with the UK, the government has signed a contract with Massey Trinidad to accept the fruit. There, it would take a maximum of 7 days to arrive. Additionally, government is sourcing another market in St. Thomas, providing a glimmer of hope for banana farmers.
I just wanted to mention that we are doing very well in the region. We are now in negotiations with a businessman in St. Thomas to purchase 1,000 boxes of our bananas as well. And as I said, well, we are looking at weekly. We are still in discussion in terms of how soon it can start.
All right, folks, we do apologize. We have an issue there with the internet at the location of Mr. Chastney, and we're trying to get him back on the connection. All right, so we do apologize, but he will be back. We were discussing St. Jude Hospital healthcare in St. Lucia, and we know yesterday a number of persons in the north of the island experienced a tropical wave that, based on the pictures that we saw, there are many families who lost, if not all of their possessions. And so we want to keep them in our prayer, and we're hoping that they can get the support that they need in order to get their homes back together. All right? And it is reported that it will cost, the cost of the damages there It is over millions of dollars, billions of dollars. All right, so just bear with us. We will be reconnecting. I know where I connected with Mr. Chasney. He's not in the island, and I know that, based on where he is, his connection will be back shortly. All right, so welcome to Caribbean American News Network. We invite you to call in at 929-586-1821. The lines are open. We'll open the lines at this time, and as soon as the Honorable Chasney comes back in, then we will continue with our program tonight. All right. He also have promised me that if he will make a second appearance if we did not get through with all of the topics that I outlined for discussion tonight, such as healthcare, roads, and bananas and other thing else, and also the United Workers' Party organization, whether they are ready, what is going on over there. Also the lease of the Castries and the Soufriere ports. We also would have looked at our youth, our young people. All right. So just bear with me. Let me just touch base there with Mr. Chasney. We do apologize for that. Any inconvenience that disruption would have caused. All right. But watch this space. We are here. Caribbean American News, the news that you report. News you report. Many of you would have heard the Prime Minister of Dominica, Mr. Roosevelt Skerrit, calling a snap election. The election date, December 6th. And so the opposition party, they're in a very difficult position at this time. I do not think consideration was given to the opposition party there in Dominica. And so they are caught in a very bad position where they got to have all their candidates together ready for nomination day, I believe sometime on the 26th of this month. So the people of Dominica will go to the poll on December the 6th of this year. And so the Prime Minister indicated that it is very difficult for them to meet the mandate, and so they would want a reset. They want to have a reset. They want to have fresh blood, and let's see what is going to happen. We know the people of Dominica have been complaining a lot, and we heard of an artist being paid millions of dollars there, while their families who are on the breadline, families who are barely getting by over in Dominica. And so we saw protests last week in Roseau, Dominica, and the folks, Mr. Skerrit has decided to call that election based on discussion with his people. Let's go over to Dominica for a minute and listen to Mr. Skerrit.
The reality is that our country was paralyzed for months. Things we wanted to do, we could not do. Some things we started have not yet.
If you could have your own Amazon store making thousands of dollars a day, and you didn't even have to manage it, would you do it? $1,000, $5,000, even $10,000 per day or more.
All right, just bear with us, folks.
Finished. This is not a game of juvenile rounders. Running a government and a country is serious business. We have to operate in the realm of reality and practicality. We have, as a nation, to press the reset button. We are determined to achieve all that we set ourselves to do in 2019. Indeed, the reality today is that we must do everything we promised back then and much, much more now, as a consequence of the challenges we endured over the past 2.5 years. We need a national reset if we are to fully recover from COVID and put this country back on a trajectory of real and sustainable development over the next 10 to 15 years. Towards this end, we have done our own internal analysis. I started first with myself. I have been your chief servant for 18 years. I am eternally humbled and very grateful for the opportunity you have given me to serve. I hope that my efforts will be judged fairly and within context. On this occasion of national reset, I have listened to the views of all, and I have made a personal decision, which I have shared with some of my party elders. You have given me a mandate that constitutionally allows me to remain in office as your Prime Minister until April 2025. I do not intend to go beyond that date. I have run my race, and I intend to finish the course, with Dominica safely back on a road of sustained progress and prosperity. That is why I am calling for a national reset. I would like, however, to preside over a peaceful and dignified transition of prime ministerial leadership to someone of my party and my colleagues' choosing. We have, as a party and a government, to prepare for the next 5 years of COVID rebuild and rebound. It will not be easy and will require commitment, dedication, and perseverance. There is need for a blend of experience, energy, youth, and positive attitude. This is the desired formula for carrying Dominica over the proverbial line. It is my intention to stay on for another 2.5 years, if it is your will. But some of my colleagues who have been with me through this journey, and others whose stint in elective politics has been much shorter, have collectively agreed that the time for renewal of the team is now. We need a refreshed Dominica Labour Party team for these very unpredictable, unprecedented, and very challenging times. Following the changes we made in 2019, there shall be next time around to be other changes to ensure the continued renewal of the Labour Party frontline and maintain our continued relevance and the achievement of the visionary goals that we have set ourselves and our country. The Dominica Labour Party must continue to be the beacon of hope. It must be the option for those who wish to see our country progress. The challenges that we face are now. They are already upon us. We cannot take chances with the future of this country. We have set ourselves on a progressive path of development and growth that will see prosperity for our people and our country. I shall be honored to use the benefits of my 22 years experience in politics to lead the Dominica Labour Party and this country through this period of global, social, political, and economic uncertainty. We shall be the change that the country requires as we continually reshape, adjust, and correct course as we move steadfastly towards a dynamic Dominica, a resilient Dominica. With that in mind, I shall lead a new look Dominica Labour Party into fresh general elections that will be held at the soonest possible time. I want for the year 2023 to begin with a fresh mandate given to a fresh Labour team to commence the work of building post-COVID Dominica.
So there you have it, folks. That is Prime Minister of Dominica calling a snap elections. And as I stated earlier, the people of Dominica have been calling for that reset. And by the way, Dominica, just like St. Lucia, experienced that tropical wave that destroyed many homes, many lives. When I say lives, livelihood, and a lot of roads were destroyed, and it is just a mess over there at this point. And some people are saying, well, God did this and God did that. But we got to understand, too, that there is something that is called the global warming effect, climate change. And the climate has changed. And you're going to see a lot of disasters and stuff that you have never seen before in the environment. And so it is left to the people. It is left to the people to do their best to reduce their carbon footprint. Now, let me just show you something here. Now, the government of St. Lucia indicated to, I think, Mr. Stephen King and the government of St. Lucia announced that there's a company that is going to drill at the Soufrière there, at the Soufrière, La Soufrière, Soufrière. But what they're saying is it is really wait, let me just I have that document sitting right here with me. Geothermal energy. So they're going to dig into the ground, hoping to get that heat. Now that cost, it is enormous. Let me just see what happens there in St. Vincent. St. Vincent started that project under the Ralph Gonsalves administration. Listen, it cost them $12 million US. $4 million to dig, to drill one hole. $4 million. Now, because due diligence was not done in St. Vincent, this project was abandoned. By the time it was abandoned, more than $12 million was already spent. $12 million. At the beginning of the project, there was the possibility that this would have worked. You were looking at a 50%. There was a 50% chance that it would have succeeded. They would have been successful in getting energy from the Soufrière there in St. Vincent. And so what I'm saying to the St. Lucia government is to be very careful. Do your homework. Don't rush into this. I know that the company might have experience in drilling, but that process was actually abandoned in St. Vincent. Now let us look at energy in St. Lucia. In 1994, Lucilec, the power plant, consumes 99.9% of diesel. 99.9% diesel. And there was a 0.1% of solar panel. Now, remember I spoke about solar panel. We talk about renewable energy and alternative energy. You cannot depend as a nation on gas, diesel, on oil to run your power plant. St. Lucia has a lot of sun. All right? And so to have 0.1% solar panel use there, that mix is not good. So look at a mix of 99.9% diesel and solar 0.1%. Think about that, right? So that's what I'm saying. Our country, the country have been suffering, and I'm speaking very slowly. The country have been suffering from ego and childishness. And that is just the truth. Because if we would have visionary leaders that would focus on the things that matters more to the society, then we would not have 99.9% Lucilec energy generation or used in St. Lucia to power our homes. And the enemy consumption, if you look at it by sectors, commercial use 49.2%. 49.2%. Domestic, 29.7%. Industrial, you have 5.2%. And maybe it's a good thing because you don't have a lot of factories operating in St. Lucia. But this is not a sustainable path. It is not a sustainable path, my friends. But there were efforts that were made by governments. We must speak the truth here. We have in 1999, the government waived import duties on and consumption tax on renewable energy. Renewable energy equipment. So anything that had to do with alternative energy, then, the government in 1999 put things in place to take care of that. And we have in 2001, solar water heater became tax deductible. Government initiated a national sustainability energy plan. That's the NSEP. The NSEP. All right. Now we're still waiting on connection. I suspect that the device got drained because once you're using the software, your device is going to drain very quickly. And I know Mr. Shastny was heading to dinner when I got him, and he would have tried to get himself hooked up quickly there. All right. So he will be back. He will be back with us shortly. Just bear with us. Okay? Good. All right, so we continue. We continue on energy. Now, I know this discussion, it's boring. It's not something that a lot of people pay attention to. They prefer the drama and everything else. But this is a real problem. It is a real problem, and that is why you're paying high energy. You're paying a lot for your electricity. There's a lot of different fees and taxes. And that's why I spoke some night ago about incentives to encourage homeowners to install solar panels, and even businesses. I believe all government buildings should have solar panels. All our hospitals, our police stations. For the life of me, I do not understand the vision of the people, the leaders. If you are building anything, whether it's an airport, a hospital, a polyclinic, there are some basic things there's some basic stuff that you'd want to have in place. Looking at the future. Solar panel. I know your hot water is already heated through thermal energy. That's just the way to go. It can reduce the cost of operating a hospital by a lot. So again, you need to have visionary leaders, and you need to start thinking from the plywood cities to, modern facilities, smart facilities that can help to reduce your carbon footprint in the society. And I hope you can appreciate and understand when I say your carbon footprint. All right? Now just bear with me. Let me see. I believe I got a notification here. All right, so just give him a few minutes. He was in meeting all day, and he stopped by before he went for his dinner. The phone was not, his device was not uncharged. I am sure of that. All right, good. So the energy thing is something that we got to look into. Lucilec is charging too much for the electricities. Poor families cannot maintain that. That's not sustainable. It is definitely not. Why? Because governments have failed to do what they had to do. And so now we're in a different century and we are still backwards. We are still back in John Compton's time. We are still way back behind while we are fighting, giving each other mapwe, sharing people's work address, which is dangerous. All these petty, childish things that you do, as I said to you, will not help you to develop your nation. And I was saying to Mr. Shastney, I believe before we came on, you would expect national unity in the building up of your nation. National unity. But it is not there. Mr. Shastney, are you back? Okay, just bear with me. Are you back, sir? Okay, good. All right, so I have the system queue, so once he comes in, he's going to come right on to the set. All right? So this is what we do. We fight each other. We speak about people's past, about, things that does not help. Look at our rivers. Look at what happened. That's not normal. Is that normal? And all the excuse that you would hear out there, we have not made the necessary preparation for the challenges that are before us. Those challenges were there in the horizon for a very long time, even during the John Compton era. But we were busy filling our pockets. We were busy with consultant fees. We were busy suing each other. We were busy doing all sorts of things as a government, giving our friends money and our families, not realizing that there is a crisis that is looming ahead. And now persons have to pay all sorts of fees apart from the actual light bill in a small country with so much sun. So again, you need a visionary leader. You need persons with vision, a clear vision, one that is not distracted by petty stuff, but one that can focus on the tasks before us. And believe it or not, there are many more pandemics that will come one after the other. Are we prepared for another shutdown? Are we prepared for another crisis? Severe hurricanes and flooding. Are we prepared as a nation? Can St. Lucia withstand at this point another major disaster? Have we put things in place, or are we focusing on that at this point, preparing the country for a financial crisis? Are we doing that? And these are the questions that we must ask. Now, as I said to you, fighting each other is not going to do that. It is not going to help. And that's why those of us with the platforms, we got to shape the discussion. It is not about cursing out this one and cursing out that one. I'm not into that. While I am here, I just want to say to Mr. Bernard Haynes, you are not a nice person. I just want to call you out on this. You are very malicious. You are malicious and you need to stop what you're doing. What you did, you went to a man's job. You took a picture of him and you send it to a television station in St. Lucia with the address of that man's address, work. And you think that that is cool. So my question to you before I move forward, and before Mr. Chastain come back to the line, my question to you is, why did you do that? What would you get out of that? Were you trying to embarrass your own St. Lucian brother? What was your intention? Now, I had a discussion with Yadi earlier today. He told me that he would never put out anybody address, and that's not him. And he assured me that that's not what happened. But I'm saying to you, Mr. Bernard Haynes, why in the world would you go to that length to try to destroy your own brother from the land of your birth? So my question again is, what was your intention? Now you think that nobody has the information. We don't know what you did, but we are aware. The walls have ears. You took the picture and maliciously you send the picture. Now, here is how the guy's a security. That's what you said. The guy's a security and he's working over there. He's a security. What's wrong with being a security in the United States? What's wrong with being a risk assessment or loss prevention officer at any establishment? So the thing is, he's a security, he's broke. He's broke. So he's broke, so let's laugh at him. And this is the hypocrisy that I will use the platform to call out without fear of anything. You are malicious. You are disgusting. And you need to repent and apologize to this man. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to call the guy name. But you know what you did. You did the same to me. You did that, sir. And you need to be called out on it. And I would not stop doing it. That's the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy. This guy never went on your job and take any picture. He never went on the live and take on at your job or your church and take pictures and send it to ICE or anybody else. He did not do that. And I'm sure he will not do that. Because it is not right. It cannot be right. And I feel bad that this is where we have gone. When Lucilec, they're still using 99.9% of diesel to provide you with electricity. When the technology is there to have solar plants and wind turbines powering St. Lucia, building smart homes, whether the home is a plywood home, it cannot be right. And I hope to God that your conscience is not so scarred or burnt that you cannot see the erring of your ways, the errors that you've made. And then the problem with people like you is that you say, well, I'm a Christian and I'm a better Christian than Garfield, and I'm a better Christian than this one. You should be called out. Calling you on the air. Caribbean American News Network.
Garfield, this is Bernardine.
Yes, go ahead.
I am listening to your show and I hear you accusing me of something. What did I do?
You know exactly what you do, sir. Hold. I won't accept.
Who's the person?
No. Hold.
Who's the person you're talking about?
No. Hold.
Garfield, you're a partner.
Hold a minute, sir. Hold a minute. Don't call here and tell me who I am. Hold a minute. What you did was wrong. Sir, you know exactly what you did. Just stop it.
But Garfield, who is that person?
All right. So.
When did that happen? Who's that person?
You don't know what you did?
Bro, you want to tell me about something that I did that I don't know. So tell me, I am waiting.
You know exactly what you did, sir. And I'm not playing this game. I don't have time for it. I don't want to have... I do not want personally... Don't tell me who I am, sir. Listen to me. You know what you did. You know exactly what you did. And you need to call the guy and talk to him about what you did. That's what you need to do.
That's what I'm telling you. Who's the person?
Well, you will find out if your conscience is a little blurred tonight. You'll find out. But I got to go, sir.
Come on.
Honestly, I have no time for. I have no time for you.
You should do better than that. You telling me something? No, you don't need a guy. Who am I calling? And I do not know.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking. Who am I calling?
Okay, so nobody. Don't call anybody. Just leave it at that, all right? But you should be called out for what you did, sir.
Garfield. No, Garfield, I met you when? I met you a Sunday ago, 2 Sundays ago. I didn't talk to you. I didn't say anything to you. What's his name? Anson said, come, let's have a picture together. I didn't even really want to take a picture with you. I didn't want to say nothing to you. I didn't say anything to you. As soon as Anson took out the picture, I walk away. Because I didn't want to say anything to you. Now you're going to come on your show and accuse me of something that I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sir, you know exactly what, and this is the problem.
Gabriel, the gates of hell is open, wide waiting for you.
Thank you, sir.
Seriously.
Thank you. All right?
Goodbye.
So, you see what I'm saying? Now, I have all the evidence here that the man was peddling this garbage last night. But now he is coming on this platform to say that he don't know what I am talking about. Can you imagine this? Pretending like he don't know what he did to this man. Pretending, and that, folks, I'm not even going to spend more time on that. But I pray to God that this change, because again, we got to be together in building the nation. We got to be able to build our nation. And I am not the one who will come here and say, well, the Lord sent the flood to wash out St. Lucians and to destroy their assets. I'm not going to sit here and laugh and rejoice over that. Because there were Christians who lost their possession. They were retirees who worked all their lives and lost their possession. So I'm not even going to laugh about it or pull any judgment talk on these people. They have lost their possession. A lost is a lost. And it can happen to any one of our families. So I'm just cautioning us as a people. Yesterday was a good example. When there's disasters don't ask you for your color, your creed, or your birth certificate. It strikes. And God is so good. Can we say God is so good? that it was not during the night when persons were sleeping. Can you not see that God, I mean, you say God destroy or wash out all the evil, but don't you not see that it was the grace of God that this thing did not happen in the night, midnight, when persons are sleeping, folks? Huh? So I'm saying, we got to draw a line in the discussion. You got to draw a line when it comes to discussing social issues. And I had a conversation with, my friend Anson, and I was saying to him, man, Anson, I don't like what I'm seeing. And he said to me, man, that I don't like it. He said, look, I would just leave this thing and not get involved. That's how disgusted, he appeared to be. It's a turned off. All of you are St. Lucians. All right? All of you are St. Lucians, and it should not be tolerated. Leave people's job out of this. Leave people's home, their address out of it. I didn't realize I have 13 missed call. So I'm going to ask the persons who are trying to call me. All right. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Pastor Garfield.
Yes, my friend.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I feel compelled to call to denounce Bernard Haynes for the stupidity of interfering in somebody's job. And he's calling now to come and tell you about God and the Bible and their hell and so on. Who is he to judge? Instead of looking at himself, he will call you and want to tell you about yourself, but rather than look at his own life and what he's doing. Why would you interfere in somebody's job? Why? For the sake of politics? That is the lowest of the lowest, the most despicable. And you don't have papers or you don't have status in the U.S.? But beyond that, what you sow is what you reap. The laws of God, the laws of the universe, the laws of karma, the golden rule, they are all the same. What you sow is what you reap. The energy you put out in the universe, the laws of physics is the same. Energy does not, you can't create it or diminish or get rid of energy. What you put out is what comes back to you. Why would you interfere in somebody's job? What do you think is going to happen to you? I mean, that is the most despicable behavior. You living your life, your family, the wife that I've heard you speak about, your children, and you are going to somebody's job, take a picture of them to send for a talk show host in St. Lucia to achieve what purpose? To try to embarrass them as a security officer? So what? Isn't that legitimate, legal, authentic, lawful work? And they're earning a lawful living? Because they're security guards, so what? That is the lowest of the lowest. Let me tell you, Garfield, as somebody who has been really attacked by St. Lucians in Canada, trying to go after my job, I am denouncing that with everything inside of me. Bernard Haynes, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. When you were part of the discussion with Cleophas Jules, KKRR, about the rape, my rape, if I came to St. Lucia for the protest, you quickly came and denounced it because you realized that the FBI was involved and you realized that you may have gotten hot water. You quickly came and distanced yourself, but you didn't mean it. You did not mean it because this is disgusting behavior. If you know the Bible, the Bible tells you, don't ever try to take bread from people's mouth. Don't ever try to do that. Because what you're going to get will fall on you and your generation to come. Why would you go to somebody's job? Garfield, this thing upset me to my core. You had one Iselba James who wrote to Dr. Jocelyn Fletcher's university where she did a PhD to say that the lady falsified her PhD thesis. A man who doesn't even have two CXCs to knock together wants to talk about somebody's thesis for their PhD and write to their university. This same guy writes to my job, not understanding that I am the president and CEO, the boss, which is bad English, bad spelling, horrible grammar, to try to do what? Making something like a fool. I had to end up making excuses for the illiteracy level in St. Lucia. He and Penny and Andrew. Another one, Dave Mano, he comes to Canada. He said he enjoys himself. He comes to my office taking photos and putting on his Facebook. Are you all miserable with your lives? Are you all miserable? What do you think you're achieving? I have had to call the Niagara police on 2 St. Lucians. There are 2 St. Lucians, Cleophas Jules and Dave Mano, who have police reports on them in the Niagara region for threats on me and my work. 2 St. Lucians. That is how disgusting and low St. Lucians are. That is how disgusting and low. You try to go after people's jobs. You think you're going to get somebody fired for your stupidity? You're only making yourself look like idiots. What do you hope to achieve by that, Bernard Haynes? What do you hope to achieve? Do you understand the blight you are bringing on yourself, your wife, your children? Do you understand the blight you are bringing on your own self? Do these people not understand the rules of God, of the universe, of nature, of physics? You are attracting wickedness onto your own self. Why go after somebody's job? You're crossing the line. You don't know the boundaries of politics. You're that evil and that wicked and that malicious to try to bring on a solution overseas. And you do not even have papers in the U.S.?
That's okay. Yeah.
I say my piece. To my call.
Yeah, that's okay. But the paper thing, I'm not even going to, because I just don't want. I don't like it. You know, I'm trying to focus on the issues.
What they have to do to earn a living. I'm not denouncing anybody for doing what they have to do, for doing what they have to do. I am not judging anybody for that. I am not. People go up to the States or to Canada, wherever they go, and they do what they have to do to get status. I am not judging anybody.
No.
But when you are in these vulnerable positions, that's when you have to be even more careful. That is when you have to be even more careful. What kind of karma are you attracting to yourself by interfering in people's job when you are not regularized in the U.S.? You don't think you're looking for trouble for yourself? And it's all the Labour Party people doing that. I have never heard of any UW person interfering in anybody's job. I know that wicked. You cannot get to St. Lucians overseas, St. Lucians in the diaspora, universities in the diaspora. You cannot get to them anyway. You cannot get to them by victimizing them in St. Lucia. So go after their jobs wherever they are and make us look like retarded idiots in the process.
Yeah.
I'll listen to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It has reached my door. 5 St. Lucians. 5.
Okay.
5 St. Lucians.
Okay.
While I am supported, respected by Canadians, 5 of my own countrymen, 5 St. Lucians have gone after my job because they think I'm not entitled to have the job I have.
Oh, boy.
I got it on the basis of merit, of hard work, of my education, of my abilities, of my track record. 5 St. Lucians have tried to attack my job in Canada because of jealousy. Hatred, wickedness in their heart.
Yeah,
we just angry at it.
Yeah, we just got to tone it down. Anyway, thank you for calling, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, and those of you who want to call, you can call back. The line was jammed earlier. I didn't realize that. But somebody asked for the evidence of what I'm saying. Let me just show you Exhibit 1. I believe I have one documentation here, but I'm not sure if you will see it clearly. I will try to make it as clear for you. All right? I know a number of you want, the proof. You want to see stuff because maybe you believe that I sit here and just speak craziness. Now, remember, you heard the gentleman saying that he don't know what I am talking about. Did you remember that? You remember that, folks? Just a few minutes ago. Don't act like you have deliberate amnesia. All right? So let's go over to the clip that I have here now. It says here, for those of you who can't see it clearly, it says Bernard Haynes It is at 34.34 of the stream. All right. It says here, today I saw Ian Caldron, the security at Target at Flatbush Junction. Now remember, Mr. Haynes just said that I'm at the gates of hell. Now let's leave it there for a minute, because I was just accused publicly in front of maybe 600 of you, both on Zoom, on our platforms. All right. Now, folks, I want you to judge me. I want you to tell me if I am wrong. Now, just look at it carefully. Take some time, breathe. This is just one piece. All right? Stick with me. Now, when he mentioned it, a lot of people did not take him on. The gentleman was shamed today for surviving, for working for a living and not stealing and selling drugs. He was the target today. The man just goes to work. He loves his country. He calls into the programs, different programs, and he shares his position. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to read it again for you, for you. All right? Now, if you look under the site, you would see that Mr. Haynes is there, and under his profile, it says stop. Now, if you look in the corner of my video, it says stop. So there is no doubt it is the same person. 2, I'm going to read it again. Today, I saw Ian Caldron, the security at Target at Flatbush Junction. Now, let me bring this back to me. Folks, one thing I try not to do is to lie and divide and try to belittle anyone. I don't take it lightly. And you heard tonight, it was told that I am at about the gates of hell or something like that. And the person called and he said to me, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't know. Who's the gentleman? Who is it? Who is it? I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. What are you talking about? I don't know. Folks, you heard it for yourself. And that's why I say to you folks, let us not do this to each other. Now, this is the same gentleman who, when we had a program some time ago concerning the situation of Mr. Jules, you know, with the mishap earlier in the thing. And by the way, I have nothing against these folks. You know, people make mistakes, they move forward. But you don't hold things around people's neck for long. I don't believe in that. All right, that's me. That's how I live my life. Okay, but this gentleman said on that same platform that I, Oliver, called him on the show. And that's not the case. I never did. I never did. So something is wrong here, and I just pray God that we stop and we start to build the nation. All right? I wish we can stop and that peace can prevail and tranquility, where all St. Lucians can enjoy their country. All St. Lucians can enjoy the discourse, discussing the good and the bad, areas of concerns, without feeling that they are not good enough to talk, or they can't speak English properly. They can only speak Creole, so they're not good. Because they are fishermen, they are not a citizen. They're not a whole person. Because they're a security guard, they are less of a person. Because they're a babysitter, they're not, a full person. There must be a politician. There must be a teller in a bank. There must be some high-polluting person in some big job to be a person in St. Lucia. This, my friend, we must discourage. And I think that was the whole idea, to shame him. He's talking about Philip J. Pear, and look at where he's working as a security guard. That's the whole idea of it. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, folks? So I am calling. Somebody said it is not Bernard. This is Bernard. This is him. This is him. Because I would not come if for instance, I'm passing down, I see Bernard doing some mason work on Church Avenue. And I know that's where he works all the time. You think I'm going to come on social media to try to shame him and say, look at where he's working. He's working in Church Avenue by the road, and that's where he is. That's dangerous. You don't put people's work address out there unless you're a crazy person like me, to put your own self out there. You don't do that. People's address, a private, it should not be broadcast publicly unless the person wanted to be there. Those are lines that you don't cross. People's family, their husband, their wives, their children. That's a no-cross lane. People's livelihood, that's a no-cross zone. You don't cross there. If you have a disagreement with someone, you don't try to call their job to have them to lose their jobs. I don't care who you are. Those things are off limit. Folks, you understand what I'm saying? And it makes a lot of sense. Because life is very strange, and a security guard can save your life. A security guard can help you if you fall on hard times. And I take this security guard issue very personally, because I too serve as a young boy as a security officer in St. Lucia. I went on to crew chief and to the salesperson for Guardsman St. Vincent Limited. So I understand that these persons work in St. Lucia, security guards, for $4 an hour, but yet they go out every day by the grace of God to make it. Every day they go back. Let's take this call. Caller, you on the air.
Hey, Brother Garfield, good evening. How you doing?
Good evening. Who is this? Ian? Go ahead.
This is Ian Cauldron here. I'm compelled to identify myself because I think I'm the subject matter of the discussion. So I normally don't identify myself when I call, but I think it was imperative to do so. Let me clear the air, Brother Garfield. I am no security guard. Okay? By profession, I'm a certified nursing assistant, and I don't think I have to bring that out to any. I don't.
Hold a minute, Hold a minute. Let me just. I see KKRR is there. I have never called your taxi service, Mr. KKRR. Let me see when you put my photo on. Oh, okay. I see what he's saying there. Go ahead. I see what he's saying.
Yes. So let me just clear the air, Brother Garfield. I am no security guard. I'm a certified nursing assistant. Okay? I've been doing that when I was in the state of Delaware for 4 years. In Trinidad and Tobago, that was my profession. I'm into the nursing profession. Further to that, I took a bold decision to relocate from Delaware, the state of Delaware, to New York. It was a bold decision, and there are the reasons why I did that, which I will not discuss.
Hold a minute, Ian. Folks, don't curse anybody out, all right? Let's live in peace, all right? Let's live in peace. Go ahead.
Be that as it may, Brother Garfield, I got job offers in the nursing department, but because of, every state have the different laws, I was able. I had to go back to nursing school, get my certification to be certified in the state of New York. Now, at in Target, I'm what they call an asset protection specialist, meaning it has to do with a lot of case studies. I have to do a lot of investigation. It's a lot of police work. Okay? But I'm not a security guard. Now, I'm just clearing the air on that. Thirdly, for Bernard Haynes to take my photo and send it for Yadi, I feel it's an invasion of privacy and the rules that govern that in the United States of America. And correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Gassi.
Yes.
Now, I want to say to you, Bernard Haynes, when this whole Sister Minova Ward saga and myself was in the air, it's KKRR. You, Bernard Haynes, came on, and brother, he called your show, Brother Garfield.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm getting the sequence wrong. He called your show, seeking to apologize to our Sister Minova Ward.
Yeah.
And he made a serious disclosure that he applied for political asylum. You remember that, Brother Garfield?
I can't remember that statement that he made.
Sorry?
I can't remember that he made that statement. But those things are more personal. You see, those things are personal, and I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Understand where I am. I don't want to shame him or put him in a, you know, I really don't want to do that. I just wanted to call him out for,
Right. So
yeah.
let me just move on. Yeah, I agree. Let me just move on.
Yeah.
But for Bernard Haynes to take my photo and to send it to Yadi, that is an invasion of privacy and the rules governing that in the United States. So Bernard Haynes, I'm going to take decisive action. Secondly, you, Yadi, for you to put my picture on your program, that's how I term it. It's also an invasion of privacy. Further to that, you went, Yadi, and you mentioned my work address. And Brother Garfield, you view the program, you follow the program. If I'm wrong, correct me. If the information I'm giving out now is incorrect, you're free to correct.
Well, as I said, Yadi called me earlier today, because I had called the station to have a conversation about that situation. Especially what got me concerned was when they actually gave the physical address of where you work. Then I said to myself, no, I got to ask them to take that thing down or, try to fix it quickly. But Yadi called me back and he said to me that he would have never done that, put, your address out. But go ahead.
Brother Garfield, I viewed the program, a replay, 3 times to be very accurate as to what I heard. And he did say my work address on the show. He repeated it twice. And his co-host, Jahim, just brought it aside. But he repeated where I work and the location twice on his show. So, Brother Garfield, I want to make it public. In light of the fact that I got desperate, you and myself, and Sister Minova Ward, I have taken a bold decision to resign my job as of today because of my safety. You listen to me, Brother Garfield.
So you're on the breadline now?
I have taken a decision. I have informed my employers verbally, but I'll do it in writing.
Hold a minute, KKRR, you don't need nobody to cry for you. You're a strong man. You're no cry baby.
I've expressed that to my employers verbally, but I'll do it in writing formally that I'm going to tender my resignation in light of the fact that my life was already threatened and my work address was disclosed on a public talk show in St. Lucia. And information travels. We're living in a small village, a global village, and information travels. I've taken a bold decision, and I'm announcing it on your show, Brother Garfield, that I'm going to tender my resignation from that job. But you see, the real issue here is why operatives of the St. Lucia Labour Party, why they behave like that? You have your political persuasion and belief. I have mine. And we all are St. Lucians must respect each other for the political affiliation and belief. I do not attack or malign or disrespect any one individual because of their political opinion or affiliation. I have mine, you have yours, and we can disagree to agree. Take, for example, I met Brother Moses Jean-Baptiste's brother, Peterson, at a function over the weekend, who were very cordial. very cordial.
You all are St. Lucians. You have no choice. You all are St. Lucians.
Right. We were very cordial, and that's how it's supposed to be. So I do not attack people on the merely because of the political affiliation. But when the Labour Party operatives do that, it says it's a dangerous sign for our democracy in a country.
Mm-hmm.
It says that, look, we are heading down a dictatorship, that, okay, only Labour Party people must speak, and the others, the independent people and the United Workers' Party supporters should not speak, should not express their views. And they go and they attack you, Brother Garfield. You have been under the attack too, in the most violent, vicious way. Yadi has been persistently attacking me, attacking your issue. I have never attacked Yadi. I have never said anything to Yadi, whether politically or otherwise. But he keeps doing it. The first thing he said 2 weeks ago was the fact that, a lie again, another lie, that I called a certain individual in New York seeking to rent a room or an apartment on credit.
Those things are for young and restless, not for adult men. So I don't think we should entertain that. Those are private, personal issues. And you see, when I speak about integrity, if someone, let's say that's for real, you did a transaction with somebody privately, that is the problem. That is the problem. Integrity, but go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I'm agreeing with you. But I just want to set the record straight because he said it twice on his show.
Mm-hmm.
And people, information is such that it could be false, but people believe in it or hearing it, they will tend to believe. For the record, that never happened, and that's an absolute lie. So I want to set the record straight there. So, Brother Garfield, I said it was imperative that I call the show.
Yeah, appreciate it.
To clear the air on this issue. I will not be long, but I just want to say, Yadi and the St. Lucia Labour Party and your operatives, no matter what you say about me, no matter no matter the amount of lies you guys attempt to spread, you guys have involved my family, that would not be to me. I have one focus, and that focus is to remove the St. Lucia Labour Party government out of office. And there are multiple reasons why I take that position. This Labour Party government is corrupt, and I'll say it. I won't go into details on your show.
Yeah, don't because I try to.
Yes.
I'm trying to keep this
at the highest. And thirdly, this Labour Party government cannot govern St. Lucia. And on that premise and on that basis, I'm going to do all in my power legally to champion the cause and to remove the St. Lucia Labour Party government out of office.
Thank you for calling.
What you say on the show, Yadi and Labour Party hat, that will not deter me. My eyes is on the prize, and the prize is to removing your government, your party from office.
Okay, so thank you. I got to go.
Giving me the opportunity to clear the air, and have a blessed night.
I got to go. But brethren, listen, you see, all that is not necessary. I don't want to hear all this kind of maypwy about who try to get apartment credit free. I didn't know you do that in the United States anyway. But is it not necessary? Why you all can't go back to having fun? Why can't you go back to having eat out together and beach parties and just enjoying? Why do you have to be so bitter against each other, folks? Let's reset. We got to learn from what is going on in our world today. You got to reset. You understand? I prefer some of you to go back and start watching reading Mills and Boons, or have you doing Young and Restless. Just cool out. Just cool out and have fun. Go to the beaches and enjoy. Folks, life is much more interesting than what you're doing, getting yourself sick over this political thing. Yes, it's a good thing when you have your party, you support your party, but let's do it respectfully. There's no need to insult anybody. And brethren, those of you under the live, let's avoid insulting anybody and besmirching them or making them look bad. You are all St. Lucians. You are all family. We are one. Why are we fighting? I am you and you are me. We are one people. We consider ourselves a Christian nation. Let's get back to godliness. Let's get back to loving a little more. All this maypwy, man. God, one of the days, and growing up in St. Lucia, I was bad, I'll tell you the truth, when I was younger, and that no joke. I was miserable. We used to give people maypwy. There's an elder who used to be in the Denver church. He had no front teeth. When he's doing Bible study, we in the congregation laughing like hell. No front teeth in the top of his head. I prefer people to be doing those things than to be doing what we're doing now. It's not necessary. Leave people job alone. Leave people pictures alone. Listen to me. They have put me as the devil with horns. They have my friend KKR. I think he loved me. The man put my picture on his whole wall as if I am running for the prime ministership of St. Lucia. But go back to having fun. Ain't no need to be cussing off each other. Ain't no need for that. There's no need for it. Stick on your issues. Stick on your issues. Be passionate about what is going on in the society. And let me tell you something. One thing that you're not passionate about, St. Lucians, is the crime, delinquent youth, our young people in the prison languishing because their case have not been called for 3-4 years and they're in prison. Some of them are innocent. We are not talking about those things. We are not talking about renewable energy. We're not talking about those issues that will impact our generation. What will they write on our tombstone when you die? Fighting on Facebook? Fighting on Facebook or giving each other maybe that's what you want on to be remembered as? Brethren, you are making history tonight. We are making history tonight. People are listening. Caller, you on the air. Caribbean American News Network. Caller, don't listen to your device, but go ahead.
Yeah, hello, Pastor Garfield.
You're on the air, sir.
This is an addendum to what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
We have more important issues to talk about.
You sound like Lincoln. Hold a minute. You sound like Lincoln.
Currently out of control. Our healthcare system is worse than ever before. Our roads are in a deplorable condition. For us to be worrying about what the Labour Party said, or the negativity of the Labour Party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for example, they've said they said on the investigation on my job, they said that I commit all kinds of fraud. Who gives a rat's butt about all of this? Let's focus on the issues and the problems that are affecting us currently in St. Lucia.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank
I disagree with, I have a problem with Ian saying that he's going to resign from his job and all that stuff.
We'll have to call him after. Yeah.
Let's focus on the issues.
Yeah, there's no need for that. Yeah, thank you, Lincoln.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, Lincoln, that's KKR, our best friend. Ika fute bukla ba bustler every night. But yeah, brethren, and he's right. Leave people job and their family out of it. You will see the transformation in your country. It's if each of us come to this point of saying, look, I support the United Workers' Party. You support Labour Party. We respect you. Your opinion, that's your opinion. This is my opinion. We're not going to disrespect Mr. Philip Jipe. We're not going to disrespect Mr. Chasney. They are human beings that put themselves forward to serve their country. And so we are not going to get in that type of fight. We're going to talk about the issues passionately. And we will wait until the elections is called. And then we'll have our motorcade. We'll put on our red, put on our yellow. We'll drink coconut water, mind our business, and we'll go and vote. And the strongest team wins. You pack your grip. Those of you who go down to the Caribbean to vote from the Caribbean, you jump back on American Airlines, you come back to the coal, you wipe your mouth, and you enjoy until the next elections. But I'm saying all this to say, the nastiness does not make us look better. And yes, some people believe that Mr. Philip Jipe need to go right away. And there are many positions that we can take to say, well, that's the case, because when you look at the rivers and you look at the healthcare system, he's trying to get that hospital up. And I was talking to Mr. Chasney even before he came on. We had a conversation. I was saying to him, it's time to get these people out the stadium. It's time to get them out. So we can agree to disagree on a lot of things. But what we cannot do, friends, is to dig people's past and bring it and throw it in their face. Because I'll tell you, KKRR threw a lot of things at me. He called me a liar. He told me I have no degree. He told me all took back all the bagay. But I will never go dig in his past to say, oh, you give me? So look, I hitting you with a bazooka now. I'm taking you out. None of us are going to win. He think he's strong. I think I'm strong. The more he give is the more I give. And what? You damage each other. You damage your country, the reputation of your country. Caller, you're on the air. Keep it cool as the wind blows.
Good evening, Pastor. How you doing?
I'm there. I'm happy.
Okay. You know the problem with St. Lucia and our citizens, the way we are getting on?
Yeah.
That started since 1997.
What happened in 1997?
1997, under Kenny Anthony. Because before Kenny came into politics in St. Lucia, with Sir John, yes, we had that. We were campaigning and doing all that. But as soon as the elections were done, everybody would have gone back to work and everybody would hug each other and we come back as one.
So what have changed? That's the question.
Let me go. That's why I'm going. That's exactly where I am going to go tonight. Kenny Anthony in 1997 came to St. Lucia, ran the politics just as Fox Burnham did in Grenada. Divide and conquer. That's the only way he could have done it. This is why he started and he burned off the banana shed. And gradually he became more dangerous at it until he went after Stephenson King. And when that man campaigned, it was vicious. It was nasty. When you tell me you are a leader in a political party and the other side will stretch his hands out to you in the House of Parliament to shake your hands after a debate and you pull it, what is it that you're saying to the citizens of the country? You hate the man. You do not like him. The anger inside of these people right now is so sickening and making it worse again. That show they had on NBC every night going after Mr. Shastri and tearing him apart. You know, the amount of hatred that was spewed in St. Lucia for the past, let's say 7 years or so, that is disgusting. Hatred to the teeth. That is what that have the people there. And that went inside of our bodies, the demons. And that is what that is dividing our country there right now, that we cannot speak to each other in harmony, hug each other. It's always a backbiting there, a fight there, a quarreling there. We go to sleep with it. That is the problem there. Kenny Anthony, that man has to come and tell St. Lucians to forgive him for the state he put our citizens in.
So what is the solution now going forward in order to fix it? Because this is not sustainable. You cannot continue as a nation with this bitterness and divide. You just can't. What? Go ahead.
Pastor Garfield, what that will change it? The only thing that can bring St. Lucians together again, that is what they are trying to destroy.
What's that?
Alan Shastri.
Yeah, but the Labour Party will not agree with you.
It's a political thing. It is not a political thing. The reason why I am telling you that, Alan Shastri has a love for the country and the people. He is not, you can see the peace, the calm in him.
But can we not say that Philip Jipe has the same love too?
Aggressive.
Can you not say Philip Jipe has the same love for St. Lucia?
No. Look at when Philip Pierre is speaking. Look at his face. Look at the demeanor in his face. And all what he does is attacking. The words that he uses, he continues to divide the nation. And the people, the right-thinking people in St. Lucia, they're seeing what is happening and they're staying silent. That will destroy our country.
But hold, let me ask you a question, right? And I'm the independent voter here, right? All right? You're the Labour.
I am independent too.
No. You're the UWP. I'm independent, and let's look for a Labour Party. And let's have a discussion, right? So here's the discussion. You're saying to me, right, that Mr. Chastney is the answer to heal the divide. And the Labour is saying, no. Mr. Chastney is the divider. You understand the argument here? So that's a recipe for more division, no?
I wouldn't say that.
No, but what I'm saying, the solution should be.
Has a vision.
I know he does, but the solution should be both the United Workers' Party and the SLP need to say to their people, we all are St. Lucians, we all are in this together.
But Mr. Chastney has said that so many times. We are all St. Lucians. Let's work together. We are in it together.
Yeah, but what I'm saying...
He keep on saying that. When he's in the House of Parliament, himself is calling them my friends. And they're telling him that you're not my friend.
But I don't believe that Mr. Pear hates his country. I don't believe so. I wouldn't go that far as saying that.
I am not telling you that Pierre hates St. Lucia. I am not saying that Pierre hates St. Lucia. But the rhetoric, the politics that he plays is dirty. It's not benefiting the country. It is not.
So you're saying that it's dirty politics?
And I do not like to sugarcoat things. The people in St. Lucia, they know that very well. They know it. And it's time for us to take a stand on that and denounce these people. What these people are doing there, it is wrong. Why is it in the time of the 80s, Sir John, they used to send eggs, everything after him, buses, that send all sorts of things on him. And after the election, we could have come back together and be united and work as a united force to get our country. Why is it we cannot do it time around?
I'm glad that you say that, because we see each other as political enemies. Both parties see each other as political enemies. But I am saying,
I'm telling you, the root of it started with Kenny Anthony. That man came on a platform and he told us the problem is between he and the Chastney. When you push something like that in people's head, what is it that you think? And now his body is like the Bible tells you, the wicked will wither like the grass. He cannot speak. He needs to come out and say something. He needs to say something. He needs to say it.
Right. So
he needs to say it.
Right. So So let's look at some solutions. The solution here is that the SLP, Mr. Pear, need to cool down his rhetoric. Don't send anyone to tell anybody you win, you lose, you win or you lose. That in itself, we can start there. 2, forget about hitting back and getting back at everything people say, because I've observed him. If you say something on Facebook, he gets agitated and he gets out of shape over it, and then he goes on. If you say something in the House, remember he used to walk out of in opposition leader. Mr. Pear used to walk out every second. Listen to me. If I had to give anybody the Johnny Walker Trophy, I would give Philip Jippé the Johnny Walker Trophy, because he walked out. You would see that man when he's angry. When you say something and he's angry, he take his bag and he start pointing his finger and cussing and say, you say, I'm afraid of you, and then you see he walks out. So there's a lot.
Want to fight with the other member in Parliament. All these things is just
right. But it got to stop, because there is transgressions on both sides, and some would say that the transgressions is more on the other side. But in the interest of the nation and nation building, you cannot build your nation divided. You can't.
There's
you
no
just
way
can't.
It can happen divided.
No, you
it
can't.
Happen divided.
You can't. And as I said,
that's what the devil realized. The devil knows it. That's why he will keep on pressing. And the wicked, God will deal with them accordingly. He will set them down because God knows exactly what the devil has planned. And they are going to go down. These people cannot be persecuting people's lives. Why? You're in government. We are supposed to complain if we see things are going wrong. We have to say it. They just want us to forget about what is happening in the country. Everybody stay mute. Our parliament house is in disarray, so everybody just have to stay mute and don't say anything. The upper house, the lower house, corruption.
Yeah, but
right? If it was Alan Chasney or UWP, whoever that was there, it didn't have to be Alan Chasney. Whoever that was in government on the UWP side, and our parliament was in disarray like that, the Labour Party would have been doing destruction in that country.
Yeah, man. Okay, so
why put yourself out for politics and you cannot take the criticism? Why? Look at so many things you all did to Alan Chasney. You all said to Stevenson King. You all did how many people call Von Louis Suju. Today you all in parliament, people not supposed to say the ills of the country. People not supposed to tell Philip J. Pierre the gas prices are going down on the market. You need to bring down on it to help a poor man brim. We're not supposed to be saying that. We're not supposed to be telling you get the road fixed because Alan Chasney and the previous government was getting it done. And you all came to say that people don't eat roads. And today you all don't know at what point you all are in fixing a road in the country. We're not supposed to talk about that. We're not supposed to talk about the 2 pots that you all gave away, just like Kenny Anthony gave the seabeds away. We're not supposed to speak about this thing. And when you were in opposition, all what you all did was lie, and cause chaos. Chaos to government. Today, all of there is a different story, and everybody's supposed to keep quiet.
Well,
that is not fair. That is not fair, and nothing is happening in the country. Rape cases, children under what age getting raped by people in high places. Keep quiet. We're not supposed to talk.
Well, but listen to me.
There's no law in St. Lucia, not a lawyer to stand up against the injustice that's happening in the country. We're not supposed to talk.
Okay.
Is that right? In the eyes of a normal person, is that right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not like we are fighting. We are not fighting, but you're just pointing out the ills of the country.
Yeah, but some people are fighting because when you start attacking persons' character and everything, then you're fighting, and that's not needed. You see, a lot of people can't discuss issues.
Like I'm seeing people calling people's jobs. I mean, it's St. Lucians like ourselves. We go overseas to make a living. Why should we call the people's job? So why is it the UWP people, the people that support UWP don't go take their time to do this nonsense? Why is it? They can do it, but they will not stoop so low to do that because of what? At the ending of the day, the politicians, look at that, it's just a year, all of them fat already. The other ones eating. We're now fighting for the little man that they fooled. The little man they fooled right now that have to be paying a gas tank $50. Wait for Pierre until he say he reach his quota for 5 years.
Well, he did
down on the gas.
He did say that he have not reached the quotas yet, and so until then the price is going to remain the same. But based on what happened yesterday, the government will have to dish out millions of dollars. They will have to find it to help.
Now we'll start paying for the gas because the gas prices will go up to $60.
Yeah, okay. I have somebody else trying to call on the regular line.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Have a good night.
And I love the engagement. All right?
Yes. All right.
Mm-hmm. Folks, you see, we'll take a few more calls, but anybody can call. And I wish an SLP can call now, to get their point of view. But folks, let me say again, there is no need. We must be able to discuss issues. There are a lot of social issues that are messed up in St. Lucia, like these old men. I spoke to you all about these old men wanting to be with these 14-year-old, 13-year-old children, 70-year-old and 80-year-old, Caribbean American News. Caller, you on the air.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You're on the air.
Mr. Garfield?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get the voice.
Okay, that's Guy Joseph.
Mr. Joseph, howdy.
I'm doing good.
We had a problem with the connection with Mr. Shastney, but he did promise that he will be back on at some point.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've been following the discussions that you all are having and your callers. There are lots of issues that really confront us. And like you, I agree that too many times we engage in the discussions that are not going to take us anywhere. I think it is necessary to highlight the shortcomings of the government on what they should be doing and they are not doing, but also to come up with ways of improving the situation in St. Lucia. But these are really difficult and challenging times.
Yeah.
And it would be for any government that was governing at this point in time. But it is, our governance is the worst that I have seen in my lifetime in St. Lucia. And I want to focus on an issue tonight, Pastor Garfield. I don't know, are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Yes.
The announcement by the government that we will no longer be shipping bananas to the UK, have you highlighted that on your program at all?
We spoke about it. Mr. Shastney spoke about it earlier in the program, but it is of concern. And I was asking him, was it a miss? I don't understand if the government did not understand the market and how fragile it is, and what was their input, subsidies or whatever they were doing. So I don't know. I'm a little confused. If you can help me, sir.
How much criticism Mr. Shastney got for attempting to export our bananas to France. And we did highlight what the issues were, and the Labour Party, that was a chorus for them in the parliament, led by persons who are in the parliament today. And you see, when you have politicians who do not genuinely care about the people, but they present themselves, I would say, as they are wolves in sheep clothing. So let us look at the parliamentarians that we have who were there when these discussions were taking place. We had Philip J. Pierre. We had Sean Edwards, Alva Baptiste, Ernest Healy, Kenny Anthony, and Moses Jean-Baptiste, who was the Minister of Agriculture. Now you have to ask yourself, why in a critical time like this, a man who had served maybe a whole term before or more as the Minister of Agriculture, why would, if agriculture was important to the government, why would you give it to somebody who was a forestry officer and if my recollection is good, then it means I think the Minister of Agriculture, 3 weeks before the announcement that we would no longer be shipping bananas to the UK, was already, or some news report came out that he would be out there negotiating markets, new markets for our bananas and doing things. So now, before you look for new markets, you first have to maintain the market that you have.
Yeah.
You have a guaranteed market. And you remember that is the same criticism we were leveling at the government for attempting to do so much in Dubai while neglecting the U.S. market terms of where the bulk of our tourists is coming from.
And we saw what happened there.
So it is evident that they are clueless as to what to do. And I think that people are looking at this banana industry in isolation. Mm-hmm. We signed an EPA agreement way back. That's an economic partnership agreement with the Europeans, the UK, where there would be some liberal trade between Europe and St. Lucia. It means that they could come into our market and do business because we were trading with them. What happens now that this has ended? I don't think you can because I don't think the UK stopped importing our bananas. I think the problem resides in St. Lucia, not so much the UK. And I need to highlight the demise of the banana industry started back in about 1995 when there were all these no-cut strikes. You remember, Garfield, there was the coupe par coupe, there was the burning of the shed.
Yeah, my family lost their shed.
Banana plantations.
Yeah.
Yes.
My father lost some. My stepfather lost his property, his shed, and his bananas was cut down flat.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
That is when the demise of the banana industry started with the St. Lucia Labour Party. And St. Lucians, we are going to pay a price down the road. There's no way, as a people, when we see wrong and injustice being done, and we remain quiet, because it does not affect us directly, that we think we are going to get away. We never get away. The next generation will pay for it. Our grandchildren, whoever pertains to us, somewhere down the road will suffer the consequences of our actions. And if our actions are good, they will reap the blessings. If our actions are bad, then they will suffer the consequences. But that is where this whole demise of the banana industry started. I remember there was a discussion some years ago between 1997 and 2001, and 2006, where a certain minister of the Labour Party, which I will choose not to mention names because I cannot give you the documented information now.
Yeah, thank you.
But said that if we do not understand that the banana industry is finished, until somebody slips and fall and break their waist on a banana peel, then they would not understand that the banana industry is no more. The same people who criticize Alan Chastanet for tourism and everything, if you look at the mantra of the Labour Party, they will tell you it was Kenny Anthony between 1997 and 2006 who changed the economy from an agricultural-based economy to a service-based economy. And the service-based economy is really tourism, because what are the services that we have? Yet still you would have so much criticism about Alan Chastanet and the white man and this and that. So out of convenience, people use information to their advantage. And the Labour Party distorts the truth, to use it to their advantage, to paint the wrong picture. Now, why am I saying all of this? Because there are sufficient people in St. Lucia who are knowledgeable, who knows better, who knows what has happened over the years, but they are sitting on the sidelines, leaving the fight for just a few people in the political arena to take on. But St. Lucia is going down rapidly. And when it goes down to the bottom, you remember what the slogan was for the campaign of the Labour Party?
Mm-hmm.
Flat down, platate. Right. Well, now, St. Lucia is flat down, platate. That is where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at every time the Labour Party uses a slogan, you remember En Rouge?
En Rouge, yeah.
After the En Rouge, what happened? The economy was so bad that Kenny Anthony himself came out and said that something happened that had never happened before, that they went to the market and could not raise money.
Yeah.
Philip J. Pierce said that he would not be able to raise money. People still elected him. So people, we have to deal with the hard times that are ahead of us.
Yep.
Philip J. Pierce is right to do what he's doing there. Because he said to the people, so if he's not going to be able to raise money, he has to tax the people. So you think it is strange that gas is at that price? And look at a few things, Garfield. I want you to pay attention.
Yes, sir.
Nowhere else in the world had a shortage of sugar except St. Lucia.
Yep.
And I saw St. Lucians fighting, quarreling, getting on, climbing on top of each other to get 2 pounds of sugar.
And I've seen that before, you know.
Supermarket.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I've seen it before in St. Lucia many years ago, where persons had to travel by boat to St. Vincent to get sugar. I remember my stepfather took me on that journey.
That may have been between 79 and 82.
But I remember you taking me on a boat. Yes.
But I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
So you look at where we found ourselves as a people,
mm-hmm.
and everybody, and up to now, nobody has given an explanation to the people of St. Lucia as to why there was a shortage of sugar in St. Lucia when every neighboring island had sugar in abundance.
Right.
And for months, I remember going by Aplau supermarket. Once, for all the times I've been in the supermarket, I went to, a friend told me, well, when you go there, get me some sugar. Because personally, I hardly use any sugar at home.
Yeah.
Either some honey or some maple syrup or something. But generally, we don't use sugar at home. So
good.
I'm just saying that St. Lucians accepted and give, and I heard people who are supposed to be intelligent speaking and making excuses for government who could not order a container of sugar to supply the country. And for months, we are fighting each other like animals, like pigs. You know, when you pour food for pigs, and you see how they behave. Now, I'm not likening our people to this, but I'm saying that is the attitude you got. That is the way people were behaving for sugar. Look at what is happening with our passports, Garfield.
Yeah.
And whenever you want me to end, I will end. Because
No.
I'm supposed to be on
No. You're the people's guy, so go ahead.
But let's look at the passport issue.
Mm-hmm.
People are leaving their homes 2 o'clock in the morning to go and stand on the line to try and get a passport in this day and age of technology.
Mm-hmm.
A new passport is introduced, a new price is being charged, but no mechanism was put in place by the government for the issuance of the passport. You telling me with all the buildings we have in St. Lucia, one building has mold, And because this building has mold, you cannot find somewhere that is suitable for something as important as a passport.
Yeah.
But you are selling CIP passports, and the persons can get their passports in a couple of days from the time the documents are signed. They can get it, but a St. Lucian in their own country, so a man in Dubai can get a St. Lucian passport quicker than a person in St. Lucia applying for their passport.
That's funny.
I mean, something is drastically wrong with us in St. Lucia. And people accept that. And I did the calculations, Garfield, based on the population. And if 100,000 people had to get a passport, now if 100,000 people have to get a passport, and it's going to take you 10 years, but yet still the duration of the passport is 5 years, which means that before you finish issuing the first set of people with their passport, more than half of them, the passports would have expired and the cycle would recommence. Are we right in our thinking? Am I missing something? Is there something I'm not getting in terms of what the Labour Party is doing as governance of the country? Is there really a government? If you had left that just to public servants without policymakers, they would have done a better job than this government. So as far as I see, the cabinet is a stumbling block in the way of the country moving forward. It is better we did not have a government and we had the public servants just running the affairs. I believe they would have done a better job than the men and women we have there running the government.
Yeah, because we have a big problem on the island now. And I mean, let's look at the rivers. The folks are saying, I heard a lot of folks saying today that, oh, we miss Mr. Guy because he would have already been on the move. Backhoes and trucks would have already been in place. He would have been there in the rain helping, But I saw Casimir in Grosile trying to be out there with his people. What say you? What was the problem? Is it desilting? Is it not? Those rivers were not maintained. The gutters were not maintained. They were neglected.
I will deal with that in greater detail with
tomorrow.
Okay. But, I want to tell you that maintenance is the key, Garfield. Yeah. You cannot, no matter how nicely, and I liken it to a car. You can buy the most expensive car on the market.
Yeah.
If you do not service this car on a timely basis, you will lose the warranty on it first of all. And you would know that in America. In St. Lucia, you don't have that. I deal with vehicles, or I've dealt with vehicles all my life. A lot of people don't know, Garfield. When I went to Mon Technical College at the time, my first area of training was in construction mechanics. Construction mechanics is really diesel mechanics. So we did a bit of auto mechanics, but the bulk of it was dealing with diesel mechanics. So dealing with vehicles, you understand the maintenance cycle. In fact, when I did a training program in Trinidad many years ago on preventative maintenance, where they are saying you have to drive your car to the garage. Your car must never be towed to the garage. That is what preventative maintenance is. Now, we do not have preventative maintenance, and I do not entirely blame the government because you have limited resources. So you have sometimes to make choices. Yeah. But that is where I credited the leadership of Alan Shastney in finding resources that was never spent. When we came into government in 2016, for the 5 years, the government was spending less than $1 million a year in desilting. And in 2 years, we had spent more money in desilting than the Labour Party had spent in 5 years. So obviously, that it was creating an impact. And I can safely tell you that from when we lost the elections to now, the Labour Party has not spent the right amount of money. Not even, I would say they have not spent 20% of what was being spent by the UWP to do preventative maintenance on our waterways. I saw the level of silt in the drains because I go around and I see what is happening. I see the riverbed, and any little rain you have, you can see the level of silt that there is. And people find it strange that you have two issues in the Bois de Vache area.
Yeah.
And I know what the issues are. So let me give you a simple example. And unfortunately, I have my documents at home. So when I speak to you, I may not be able to actually give you the documents to show.
Yeah, no problem.
But I have heard, what's his name now? The engineer.
Mr.
John
Peter? Peter, yeah.
Yes, I've heard John Peters making some ridiculous comments. And that is why when I was invited to go on a program, I said, no, don't invite me today and invite him tomorrow, invite him today and invite me tomorrow. If you want me to come, invite the two of us. Because I want to show the people of St. Lucia how much foolishness this man is talking. And let me just highlight one point on that. He said that merging two lanes into a single lane is such a big traffic problem. Garfield, you live in the U.S. How many places we see 4 lanes and 3 lanes merging into 2 lanes? Almost every highway in the U.S. you see that. You see 2 lanes merging into 1 lane. Because once you get that, it means that you have passed a major junction point where traffic diverts to a different area.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you get to a point where traffic increases, then you go back to getting 3 and 4 lanes, and then you would see, lane merging in 1,000 feet, or in the next mile, the lanes will. You know, these fellas want to treat St. Lucians as if we don't read, we don't travel, and we don't know anything. So he uses his credentials as an engineer and say, oh, that's creating a bottleneck. It's creating a bottleneck because the merging lane, it ends abruptly. There's no merging.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're going up the top of Shock Hill, and I know you've been to St. Lucia, you have a double lane. But the double lane does not allow the flow of traffic up to a point before it becomes the single lane again. It's just that you have 2 lanes and everybody rushing up the 2 lanes, and then it just ends on you, bam.
Yeah, but I don't know who's engineering these projects.
Now that is where I expect engineers.
Yeah.
You know, when I told them, when an American, because your traffic signs are supposed to be international, because you have people from all over the world coming to your country and driving.
Yeah.
You see a single white line on the road. And in a lot of places, it's a broken line. To most Americans, that is a 2-lane road going in one direction.
One direction.
Because you don't use white lines internationally to demarcate dual carriageway, like going both up and down. They usually use a double yellow line to do that. And when they use a white line, they would use a double white line. So I'm saying, but for your highway, why would you have the markings like this? And when an American person comes there and they're trying to drive, they're confused by what we are doing. These are the things that I expect the engineers to highlight. And I had a lot of difficulties with our engineers in St. Lucia when I was minister, because They always tell you, oh, you think you are an engineer, you think you this, you think you... It's not that you think you are anything. It's common sense would tell you, and based on your experience and your knowledge, you would understand that some things make sense and some things don't make sense. Now, the point I was making about Peters and what he was saying, he was making a mess to try and defend why they stopped the 4-lane up in the Rodney Bay area. He was trying to justify, okay, they stopped it because in the first place it was making sense to have 2 lanes. Of course it makes sense to have 4 lanes there because of the flow of traffic into the Rodney Bay area.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you what happened in Wadawam.
That was a nightmare.
That people are not understanding. Lower down from Bill going north, you remember we had put that road along the riverbank. So there's that road at the back of what used to be the Galaxy gas station. You remember that new bridge in Wadawam?
Yep.
Then what we had done is we had put the road at a point where it did not have to cross the river. Because here's what has happened. And that is what people are not understanding. Basic common sense. You have a box culvert between the Computer World building and the gas station area there. You have a small box culvert there. And there are no other major waterways. But when you get to the Wadawam Bridge, that's the bridge Reno built that cost in excess of $13 million. That bridge is a wide span bridge built high that can accommodate 5 times the amount of water or 10 times the amount of water that the box culvert can take higher. Now, before the water gets to that big bridge, it must go through the box culvert.
Yeah.
So already you are creating a bottleneck of backup in Corinth because the water cannot flow through that box culvert. Now, when we designed that and we did that road there, this road between Computer World and the other, this road was not supposed to remain there. The box culvert was supposed to come out, and the river was supposed to have a free flow all the way down to the bridge. Now, the Labour Party came in and made a whole mess in 2011. They said, oh, we didn't have the land, and they closed the road, and they made it one way, and this, and a whole set of nonsense. When we came into government in 2016, I was no longer the Minister for Infrastructure. Minister King was. I told them what the original plan was for the road and how it was supposed to work. For that matter, when we did that road, Minister King was the Minister of Finance when that road was done. So, and C.O. Williams had basically donated the land to the government of St. Lucia at $1. Wow. That was the sale value of the land where the road is passing, because putting the road there appreciated the value of the land that they had at the back of the river. So I'm just saying that to hear engineers, so all of a sudden now, these engineers will come and give you explanations as to why we have this problem. I can tell you 2 of the things that cause that problem in Corinth. One is that bridge, which is a bottleneck.
Okay.
Secondly,
interesting.
Secondly, it is the area further down past the back of Harris Pins going in the back there. This area needs to be dredged. And I know when Spider was the minister, on a couple of occasions, we had desilted this thing going all the way down to the back, because that water flows almost, how would I describe there? There's a small beach when you're going down to Windjammer Landing.
Yep.
Instead of making the right turn, the left turn to go to Windjammer, you make the right turn. And inside there is a little enclave of a beach. I can't remember the name now.
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
That waterway goes all the way through there. Now, once where the Moplezi was and these places, once the water gets in there now, you know what happens? This whole area, there's a lot of backfilling that have taken place and the waterway has not been maintained. And I challenge the Labour Party to show us where they did any work on these waterways since they came into government. Now, I'm not saying that having done work, they would have stopped the flooding entirely, but it would have reduced the amount of flooding that we saw there. I know that for a fact. And if they have done what they were supposed to do in Bexar, if they have done what we have been doing in Bexar over the 5 years of the United Workers' Party, we would never have had that level of flooding in the Bexar area as we did yesterday. Because, like I said, maintenance of the waterways is critical.
Yep.
So now it's like towing your vehicle to the garage. So they will go and do the work after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they had done it before, they could have reduced the losses to the people of St. Lucia.
Wow,
and that is very unfortunate. That's the same thing that was happening with our schools and everything. No maintenance by the Labour Party. That is what they do. Government property is neglected whenever Labour Party is in office. That is what is happening.
But let me ask you, what is going on with the Met services in St. Lucia? I'm not sure. I think the weather was supposed to be scattered showers yesterday. I don't understand. Do we not have proper equipment?
It has always been. No, I don't think it's because we do not have proper equipment. Raphael, I follow weather reports outside of St. Lucia to know, and I was responsible for the Met services at one point in time.
Okay, good.
As a minister, and I can tell you, during my tenure, we did undertake some. We send people out on training. So we have trained Met officers.
Okay.
Apart from having them trained, under the World Bank project, we got additional equipment to assist. We have measurements. A lot of stuff was done to upgrade what is happening. What continues to baffle me is that once you listen to one weather report in St. Lucia, you can say the same, you can listen to the same weather report. Every day is the same thing. And even the terminology that is used is not widely understood by the people.
Right. I was just going to say that. Yes.
So, I mean, like I said, I followed that weather channel, that gentleman who predicted that we were going to have these rains. And he was showing that there was a 6,000 kilometers of cloud cover stretching all the way from Canada to as far as some of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And he gave the path that this and indicated. So what I'm saying is we have NEMO in St. Lucia, who should be following. We have our Met services people who should also be paying attention to weather systems. I mean, generally speaking, Gaffel, weather reports, it is just a formality in St. Lucia. It is not something that is treated with any measure of reliability or dependence. Because people tell you, when they tell you it's going to rain, you never get rain. And when they tell you it's not going to rain,
so people don't really trust. So they just go on their business like, whatever they say, whatever it is.
Yeah,
but it's dangerous.
It's just during the hurricane season, people pay a little more attention. It is amazing. I've always said that. How the weather predictors up here, using the patterns that they use, can be so accurate.
Yep.
In terms of, you get a 10-day forecast of what the temperatures are going to be, what it's... but in St. Lucia, you hear... And if Mr. Ellis sends me the weather report every morning, and I can tell you, when I listen to it, they will give you one weather report that the weather is okay and everything. And then separate and apart from that, then they will tell you this tropical wave is going to do this and do that. So if you just listen to the first weather, why isn't what the storm doing included in what is happening as part of the overall weather report?
Yeah.
So they give you the tropical weather outlook, and then they give you the weather report in St. Louis. And I've said that. I have recommended that, look, there needs to be an educating of us as a people as to how the weather functions and what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And how to interpret what an upper level trough is and what, when you say we are going to have widely scattered showers.
Yeah, what is that?
It's so small. How you can have widely scattered showers? I don't know, but I'm just
they got the scattered showers yesterday.
Yes. we have a long way to go get things, but it is so sad that as a people, we accept mediocrity. And that is what Alan Chastanet was trying to put St. Lucia on a different level.
Yeah. And he
was setting a new standard.
Which was okay. I told him earlier that I saw his vision for especially Vieux Fort. And who would not have wanted that for their community? But, the problem is lack of vision, and people are just people just like the hand to mouth type government. Just give me a little boathouse with one window and tell me that, oh, you had nothing, I give you something now, you should be happy, and we're comfortable with that,
No, but look at it. Let's look at the years of people in politics, and it is important for us to understand. Sir John spent maybe from 1964, maybe 1960 to 1995.
Yeah.
Let's take his first major time in politics. He spent 60 to 95, 35 years in politics. Look at the mark that Sir John left in St. Lucia for his 35 years in politics. Now you can tell me he was Prime Minister, yes, but he left a mark in St. Lucia that everywhere you go in St. Lucia, you can see something that was
footprint,
done by Sir John.
Yeah.
And St. Lucia developed. Now, let's look at the other politicians who are in that realm of the number of years.
Yeah.
How many years has Philip J.P. been there? 1997, about 30 years.
30 years representing Marsha.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now, I'm not even looking at St. Lucia. I'm looking at his constituency.
Yes.
Around Castries East, and see what his mark is in Castries East after almost 30 years.
Galvanized fence and a clogged drain.
Take Stevenson King and take his he celebrated 30 plus years in politics. Show me the impact in his constituency for this period of time. And that's why I tell people, it's not how long you've been there, It is what you do. It is, and I may not choose your program to disclose it, but St. Lucia has suffered immensely at the hands of Stevenson King, and that was disclosed to me by Louis George, and I experienced it myself, the late Louis George, and I experienced it myself.
So you can share with us tomorrow. You can share us because I'm all ears, I mean, if you realize all I'm doing is drinking water and my business, I'm listening to you.
Yes. But I wanted to call in tonight because I realized you lost your connection with
yes. And
with our political
but let me
leader,
just add while you're here, he just sent me a message and he told me he was trying to get back on. He got knocked off, but actually it was my fault and I'm not monitoring the system to pull him back in. And so he apologized and he said, look, he's going to be back on the program to finish.
All right.
I think he's heading to a different country. He's somewhere out of state and he's heading to another place. And I'm hoping that, we can get him. And I know you'll be on tomorrow. You know what I look forward to, Mr. Joseph? I look forward to both you, Mr. Allen, and Mr. TP coming together for a debate. When I say debate, a discussion on social development.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to hear three of you. Just let's educate people. Let's give people the information. Let's have a more informed society. I think people are really backwards with their thinking, So I'm inviting all three of you, and if anybody else wants to join, all three of you, and let's have a nice discussion. I think the country is way behind, and with all the support that we have been getting throughout the years, assistance, grant, and all, we are so behind. It's ridiculous. Yes,
and that is what I want to be able to highlight, and I will go wherever. There's no questions that are out of bounds for me. There's nothing. If I don't know something that you ask me, I will tell you straight off. I don't know, or I cannot answer this now. But there's nothing you can think of that you need to ask that you cannot ask.
Guess what, Mr. Guy? Our political leader, he said to me, look, there's no question that you can't ask me. I said to him, I don't want to ask you any question on the interior, the inside scoop of the United Workers' Party at this point. He said, no. He said, no, there's no question is off limits. So I like that, we're open.
No,
yes.
And that's how I've always operated. Whenever I did a talk show in St. Lucia, in government, out of government, I never get questions before. I never tell them I want to know what I'm going to talk about. If you give me a direction for my documents' sake, because the amount of documents I usually have to work with when I go to a program, you would be amazed when my wife accompanied me to a program. She would be there with stacks of papers. So
wow. And that is good.
More in my vehicle.
Yeah.
Because if somebody brings something and they want to challenge me on it when I say this is what it is, then
I
would have my information to back it up.
Right, like Monaka Crew, guy vole, me yo pani yo papier. Not only that, they did all investigations, millions of dollars. May you still got the guy vole. Me, I would take guy.
And that's what what is amazing, Garfield. Every time I'm in the US, they say I can't come back to St. Lucia. And when I'm in St. Lucia, they say I cannot come up to the US. And I've been back and forth all the time.
Yeah. Except the FBI la pagare poor.
So it is time that our people begin to understand that, look here, politicians will come and politicians will go, but our country will remain.
That's right.
And we'll either be progressive or we will be retarded.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and I pray for this government, Garfield.
Yeah.
I pray for Philip Jettier as the Prime Minister that his eyes would be open.
We got to, because he have 100 and something thousand people under his belt.
and he would make the right decision for the country.
For the country.
I mean, but you see, prayers cannot just fix everything, you know.
No.
I mean, leaders must align themselves with what the will of God is for his people order for them to be able to accomplish what. And I know a lot of things that I choose not to say. I have not been very critical of the government. I'm giving the fellows that time. I defend Joachim. When people come and tell me things about Joachim in the constituency, I defend him, you know.
Well, the majority would know that.
Man is still learning.
The majority of people would know that. They think, you know, that you're wishing him bad, you know.
No, I don't ever. Because I always said I did not want to win and be in opposition because they would just make the constituency suffer.
Except so you're the guy I went out to.
Yes. They have no excuse for it. So you see the problem, if I'd won the seat and I was in opposition, you know what they would say? Oh, I didn't fight to get things done for the constituency.
Yeah.
That's why it was not silted and it flooded. So why is it not done now?
Boy.
Remember, Kenny Anthony said, I never asked them for projects for the constituency from the Taiwanese.
Yes.
And I used to stand in the hallway. I went to Dr. Anthony myself. I pleaded for them for $35,000. I said, give anybody the contract you all want. I'm not interested. The toilets were there and everything. Just finish the park in Bexar for the people and put up the electricity.
Yeah.
And we waited for 5 years and that did not happen.
Wow.
But they still went about telling the people, oh, I was too proud and arrogant. I didn't want to ask for things for the people.
And everybody know you as a working guy, you know, in your community.
Exactly. And you know, Garfield, my heart went out to the people of the constituency because like I was saying to somebody, the people in Corinth and Grozily and those in Castries and other areas who are not accustomed to that type of flooding maybe experience that for the first time in their life.
My God. Yeah.
Imagine living in Bexar, in Mac, in Crownlands, in Odsa.
Yeah.
And having cul-de-sac, having to experience that almost every rainy season.
Sad. Yeah, sad.
Your bed gets wet, your mattress, your fridge, your stove, everything. And look at the way the rain came. People could not save anything because nobody expected that. It was not like something had been predicted.
That's right. So you
went and you would say, okay, people just say they did not pay attention. Nothing was said.
Yeah.
And even while it was happening, nobody came out and made a statement.
No.
And say, look here, such and such is the situation. Let us put a plan into action.
But I didn't even hear an address. Sorry, I didn't hear an address to the nation from the Prime Minister's office.
Nothing.
You know, you would in major disasters like that, you make a public appeal to the nation. You go to the Prime Minister's pulpit and you issue a statement. I don't find Mr. Pear does that. He don't come forward, you know, and address the nation. You have to catch him in a when he's going into the house as a journalist. You have to catch him by the door going in. You know, and that's not good.
A passing comment.
And then he
passing comment.
He make a passing comment.
The Prime Minister is the head of NEMO. And I know that had Alan Chasney been the Prime Minister from the time the rain started, and we would have, within an hour, you would have had a meeting called.
Yep.
There would have been some level of mobilization. Somebody, what we used to do is all of us used to go into our constituencies. We used to call the radio stations. We used to give updated reports.
Yeah.
As it was happening, whenever it rained, that was a problem that my wife always had with me. she used to tell me, so they have a hurricane for everybody else except me. Because you leaving me at home alone and you heading to Bex. you heading out there.
And that was a problem. But that was a problem for the other party, the opposition at the time, which is, I find it was ridiculous.
Yes. If you love people, Garfield, if you're genuinely concerned about the well-being of people, and you understand what they go for. You know how many vehicles I used to tow? I have a Tundra. And if the Tundra is tall enough, and it can go through the water because the engine is very high, where the air cleaner is, so going through the water. You know how many times I towed vehicles in the water, put people at the back of my vehicle, take them to the point of safety. Yeah. We have a whole crew of us. So I used to be soaked from head to toe.
Wow.
In and out of the rain. And I did it because I genuinely wanted to look after the well-being of the people of the constituency. Now, a lot of the people have been asking, but why we not seeing you with... I said, no, there's a new rep, and I don't want to be in anybody's way. Nobody is using me as an excuse for not doing what they were elected to do for the people.
That's right.
And I'm not in competition with any... The competition was during the election.
Yeah, that's it.
He won, I lost.
Yes, full stop. Yeah, that's it.
It is his job to do now.
That's right.
He has to look after the constituency.
Yep.
So I'm not going to go around and try and do things to try and compete. No. When I was there, I didn't care whether you were Labour or you were Flambeau. I took care of the constituency. When I destilted, when we maintained the drains, when we built the retaining walls, when we put the footpath, we didn't skip no Labour Party house. We did things for everybody in the constituency.
Wow.
Regardless of, in fact, up to today, a few of my supporters called me to tell me how much they miss me and how the whole conversation
I can imagine.
In the constituency.
I can imagine.
The constituency was if Guy was there, if Guy was
because
there.
They're accustomed to you being out there. They're accustomed to it.
And you know what some of them said to me? All the Labour Party people, you are doing things for that, go and vote against you. You see what happened to us now? I said, well, that's their choice. I always said, when the people elected me, I was happy and I served them to the best of my ability.
I heard the same thing about Estefan in Dennery, that he would take care of a lot of the Labour people and sometimes neglect some of his own people. But, well, you know what? It's kind of a good thing that, you're not party blind. And you understand that when you are elected, you're elected to serve the people, everybody, Tutmun.
Yes. I would give priority to my people. I have a bias towards my people. I'm not saying no, but I would not neglect a Labour Party supporter because I know they did not vote for me.
Nah, there's solutions.
I would meet them and we would laugh and we would joke about it, and I'll tell them, man, after all these things I do for you, you still are voting for me, and we'll laugh about it. You think I'll get vexed with somebody on election day that they went to the polling station and they voted against me? Or if when I'm passing, I see them with their red T-shirt or their red flag waving.
That doesn't sense.
I used to look at some of them, Garfield, and laugh and say, I see you. And we would make fun of it. So they would come and take a picture with me, and we would take a picture, and then I go about my business.
Yeah, one people,
But it's unfortunate that this is how and I listened to your discussion, and it's very sad. But that is the nature of the Labour Party. Yeah. I know that.
Yeah.
Because I did some work with the Labour Party in the 1997 election.
So you would know.
By 1998, I had given up on them. I had realized that was a major mistake, supporting these people.
Since
then, they have been inviting me. Garfield, if I was to go and join the Labour Party today or tomorrow, I'd be the best person,
Oh yeah, they would not be saying lock him up. They would be saying free him. He's a good guy. He's the best guy. He's our guy.
You know how many times I did some fellas in there, my good, they tell me, man, you need to come back home. Even Kenny Anthony, one time he saw me with a tie that was kind of red. He said, boy, it looks like you're ready to come back home.
Because they know you're a worker. You know, they know you're a worker. You know, but...
You know, and that is the sad part about the Labour Party.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who has the capability to work for St. Lucia, they demonize this person.
Yes.
And I will bring people back to remembering what was said about Sir John. They used to call Sir John Jabla.
Jabla, yeah. Yeah, Jabla. They even wanted to deport him to St. Vincent.
Yes. So you find it strange that they're attacking Alan and saying, oh, he was born in Matnik and that is the mantra. That is the MO of the Labour Party. Anything that is good for St. Lucia, they try to destroy.
Yeah.
Anything. So you see what has happened to the banana industry? Where are the farmers today? Yeah. Where are the people who are exporting bananas to the UK? What is going to happen? The demise of the banana industry started with the division of the company. From the time they did away with SLBGA and put in SLBC, that was it, you know.
Yeah.
And then you had PQF and you had this one and you had that one.
I remember them.
And tomorrow, I want you to remember to ask a couple questions because I can tell you what we were doing to save the banana industry.
So we'll look at the bananas tomorrow.
We had gone into partnership with a company from Jamaica because Winfresh was going into bankruptcy. And we did not want to lose our share of the market, because we still have our percentage supply of bananas for the UK market.
Yeah.
But it was the bad investments made by the Labour Party government, not just in St. Lucia, in the banana industry with Winfresh. Remember, Winfresh was producing water and they spent some money in Grenada and they had taken a big loan and was going into receivership and all of that. And we for Invest St. Lucia had stepped in to be able to rescue and even pay the farmers. So tomorrow we need to have maybe a lengthier discussion.
Yeah, we'll have
this because
yes. I look forward to it.
People in St. Lucia need to know that once you put the Labour Party in charge of things, it will be destroyed.
Yes, sir.
And I can give countless examples where this has happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, Garfield, I've
man.
quite
But
a bit of
before,
your time.
no, but it was okay.
People.
Yeah, I love you, man. But listen, one thing I wanted to ask you, for all these years, I've been waiting to ask you this question. So, sorry, let me just make this statement. I remember you were in the House once, and I think the Speaker was trying to take over the debate, and you said to him, Mr. Speaker, since when that's your role? And that became famous. So we might have to ask that sometime tomorrow night, Mr. Speaker, since when that's your role?
Since when that's your role. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Not a problem.
Have a good night, Yes.
All right.
Blessings, brother.
Okay.
God bless you.
Bye.
Amen. Yes, man, that was the guy, the right guy, the guy that all of you love. But folks, we got to go. But listen to me. Tomorrow we're going to have Guy. I'm going to play the tape when he said, Mr. Speaker, since when that's your role, I'm going to look for it. We're going to have fun tomorrow. We'll allow you to call in as much as you can so that you can interact with him. Where's the link for the... Oh, yes. I have a link for my Cocoa below the screen. Please, if you can go below the screen and buy me a coffee. All right? You're like too much trouble, You're like too much trouble. So please, folks, go below the thing there and subscribe to Buy Me a Coffee at the bottom, all right? Okay, all right. But listen, folks, so Mr. Shastner, he reached out to me a minute ago, and he said that he will be back with us. So that is good news. I know he was tired and he was busy. He had a full day in meetings today. The Caribbean, these people are pulling Mr. Shastner from one side to the other. You hear me? All these countries, they're pulling him in. I am telling you. So they know what they're seeing. They know what they're seeing. But watch this space. Dominica is heading into elections. The heat is too hot there. So the brother said, look, man, we need a reset because some of the guys in cabinet, they're making sense. They're lazy. They ain't working. So let's have a reset. And some of the people said to him, sir, we have no confidence in you anymore. Call the elections. Call the elections because we're hearing what the people are saying. The pressure was on in Dominica. While he was here supporting the Labour Party, his own people over there, they were busy putting plans together. His own government was busy whispering among themselves. So all that glitters, it is not gold. You hear me? So I must say to you that I gave to Mr. Shastney a secret tonight, but I'm not going to share it with you. In the next few months, you're going to see it, you're going to hear it, and many of you will be shocked. You'll be shocked. All right, but God bless you all, and I'm hoping that you guys will have a beautiful. Thanks to all of you. I see Mr. Anson, my friend Anson was there. Anson, look on your Facebook Messenger. I send you an information that you wanted. All right, I send you some information there. So I want to thank everyone. Mr. Kikiara, he was on. He was very respectful. We appreciate that. And for those who are giving problems, you know, you got to stop that. I will go through the comments and we will erase some of them. We will block you, those who were disrespectful. There is no need to disrespect anybody. We can talk. Look at Mr. Guy on. I sat there drinking my stuff. I'm not telling you what's in my mug because you might judge me. But let's go back to fun. Let's go back to enjoying our discussions and having our debates on social issues and the development of the nation. But let's not give anybody. All of us need MAPE ourselves. No tutni bagay adi da kono ki movie messed up. Checkly. Let's just cool out. Just time out. You don't have to be so stiff. All right. The other thing is the Bernard issue. It is serious. You judge for yourself, folks. All right? You judge for yourself. The gentleman came on and he said, me? I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Who man? Which man? Which gentleman? I don't know. You. There's a place in hell for you. I don't know anybody. You heard that, ain't it? And you would have believed that I'm lying. I showed you him under the thing. And then I have some other stuff. But I'm trying to protect the gentleman. You understand what I'm saying? So let's be respectful, be kind to each other. The Bible says, be kindly affectionate one to another. Love goes a long way. Love can roll all the dark clouds away. A little more love, and you'll be okay. But we don't mess around over here. You know? We're not messing around over here. Anson, you're welcome. Everybody, you're all welcome on this platform. I want more labors on the platform and independent. I want a lot of different voices in the platform. As a preacher, I understand fishing. I understand how you befriend people and you maintain that friendship. I understand how you respect people's position. I understand those things. I understand how you do enrichment and you add to your numbers. So we do not run people and say, go, we don't want you. No, you need everybody on the platform so that you can have a balanced discussion. You cannot talk among yourself. It's like Catholics just preaching to themselves every Saturday, every Sunday. And the Pentecostals preaching to themselves. And the Adventists preaching to themselves. You got to preach to others who don't share your position. You got to talk to them. You got to communicate with them. You can't rush them. You can't treat them like animals. And they can't treat us like animals. We are one people, one nation. Sons and daughters of St. Lucia. And if you look at me tonight, you see I put on my pin. Are you ready for action? You see that? That is the St. Lucian pin. How many of you have one? Y'all are St. Lucian more than me. Let me ask Uno before I challenge you all tonight with all the talk. How many of you have your pin, your St. Lucian flag, on your jacket? Not even on your pajamas you have it. All right? So tonight I am more St. Lucian than every one of you on the platform, including Mr. Prudent. My brother. You know, I'm more Lucian than Anson. Everybody. Even KKRR. KKRR, your withdraw birth certificate, monsieur. All right? So they're trying to figure out where he was born, not in St. Lucia. All right? But wear your flags. Be somewhere you see ya. All right? Winning back. And when I put that on, it means that I am ready for action. I endorse that message. And listen to me, tomorrow night, it is going to be elections night here in the United States. May the best man win, but it looks like a lot of the Trumpers, they are doing well, a lot of them, but watch this space. A lot of things can happen, you know. I am hoping that the Democrats were able to take out some of the win from these guys with the hearing and the exposing of Mr. Trump and his supporters, and the situation there when they stormed the House. That might help to hold back some of their speed. So watch this space. You know, you can also look at international politics, how things happen, how they operate here, you know. And Mr. Prudent, he understands American politics better than a lot of us. But do what you have to do, folks. Those of you who are going to vote here in the United States, look at the issues. Be careful how you cast your vote. I did not work in the elections this year. I don't know why they did not call me. I don't know which one of you St. Lucians called them and said to them, don't hire me this year. But I was looking forward to working in my district this year. That's how I make a little money when I go out and work the elections. All right? So I wasn't able to do that. So all of you got to buy me a coffee before you all go. Anson, please buy me a coffee. Go to the link, people. If you all like what I do, and go to the link and buy me a coffee. St. Bernard say I'm going to vote early tomorrow. Oh, you're in the U.S. Catherine, that's my friend, St. Bernard. My happy friend. She's up here. I must confess, I'm not voting this year. For some reason, I don't feel like it. I have a lot of stuff to do. I have a lot of schoolwork to submit to. All right. So, folks, good night. God bless you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you, give you peace in your homes and peace wheresoever you go, in the name of Jesus. Amen. So, folks, enjoy. And I'm trying to put together a fundraiser, a GoFundMe, for some of the folks who were affected by the flood. I'm going to ask, what's his name, Anson, to work with me so that we can get some assistance to the families. I'll be heading down to St. Lucia in December after I get back from England. So we can at least help some of the families there in St. Lucia who were affected by the waters. All right? So, folks, it's not about just talking. Let's get to work. Amen? So, thanks again, everybody. Love you. Cleopatra, my friend. Good night, Mr. Prudent. Who's using who? Somebody answered that money don't mix. Well, if you don't mix with the money, I will mix with it. You know, or if. All right? Yes, folks. Beautiful night, Francis. Good night. Allison George, thank you. You're sleepy, you're tired. Good night. Good night. Good night. Adolphus. Yes. Good night. Good night, Modest. Good night, Matthews. Yes, yes, yes. BB. Yeah. Leona. Yes, sir. Miranda and all the others. Good night. So y'all go look for y'all St. Lucian pins. Go back, Mr. Prudent. We'll have to sell for y'all. I might have to ship some from here or from China for y'all. And y'all can get it from Mr. Prudent. We'll figure a price for it. Everybody's selling coffee and cocoa tea and everything else. So we'll sell pins. All right? $100 pin. Molly, I thought you were sleeping. Why are you doing up so late? I didn't know you were there. All right? Good night, folks. Beard on me, dummy beard. Those of you on YouTube, I have a new monitor so I can see. There were many of you were over there in large numbers. So our YouTube fans, Donovan, let me see the figures on YouTube so that you can know. We had 327 viewers over on YouTube. That's the numbers I'm seeing here. We had over, and the average viewers were there 42 minutes and 42.40. So 327 viewers we had all together based on the numbers here who clicked in checked into YouTube. Those of you who are on YouTube and you have not subscribed to the page, please subscribe now. Go to the subscribe button. We don't need your money. Go to subscribe and subscribe over there on the platform. Between Facebook and YouTube, we had, I believe, about 800 persons, 800 to 900 persons viewing our platforms tonight. All right, so folks, blessings, good night, and Mr. Ellis, see you. Have a beautiful night. All right, see you tomorrow. Alex, long time I don't see you. How are you? Alex from Denver, my friend. Good. All right. Tomorrow night, don't forget, at 8 o'clock your time, we'll be together with Anson, please, I'm losing my head sometimes. I'll be on with Mr. Guy, and what we'll be doing, we'll be monitoring the U.S. elections at the same time. All right. So you don't have to be fighting to watch CNN or Fox or MSNBC. Tomorrow night we'll be following the report, the elections right here on this platform. At the same time, we'll have Guy. We'll discuss the U.S. elections, and it's going to be a beautiful show tomorrow. So we'll have Guy, the right guy. Since when that's your role, Mr. Speaker, and then we will be monitoring at the same time. We'll have a split screen. We'll be monitoring the U.S. elections result, because these results have consequences to those of us living here in the United States, and you better believe that, and the world rather. All right. So good night, folks, and moi fâché. I gone. Bye. Night.